Gary Beekler, and I am live in San Francisco, California, Poop City, USA. And this is Friday Night Tights, the the 13th edition. And before I get started to announce our illustrious guests, I would like you to please consider to subscribe. A lot of you out there are watching and haven't subscribed yet. I would like to humbly ask you to subscribe, like, and share this video because of Quarter Black Garrett's boss. YouTube changed the algorithm, and we are all suffering now because of it. And we don't get the traction we want. I'm just kidding, kind of. And so
no, it's true.
But yes, YouTube did change something to favor the big corporations. And it wasn't Steven Crowder's fault at all. It was YouTube bending the knee, and we all know the story behind that. So if you could consider doing that, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, on to Friday Night Tights, and we're going to go around the horn and announce or introduce our guests. And we'll start with the one next to me. Which way do I get a poke? This way. Okay. Odin's movie blog. You know him from Geeks and Gamers. He's got a beard that's pretty good. You know, Odin. What's up, Odin?
I'm doing fine. Apparently, my beard's not as good to get a beard oil sponsorship.
More on that later, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, ladies, you know, hey, I watched Titans episode 2, and there's a bearded lady in there, so she might want some beard oil. You know, it works. You know him, you love him. He actually is the nicest person on YouTube, but some people just don't like him because, well, you know, all those facts are very bothersome. Mahler, what is up, my friend?
Hello there. It's wonderful to be here, Gary. How do you do?
I am great. It's good to talk to my Buffy bro.
Oh, yes. Us against the world. I'm spreading it one person at a time.
Yes.
Everyone will know the greatness of Buffy.
It is great. Just separate it from the insane person who wrote it. You know, listen, it's okay. Yeah. And then we have my co-host for a long time now on this, and, you know, an early internet friend, and we have been buds for a long time. Comics Division, what's up, man?
Hey, man, how's it going? Sorry about the barking dog. I was actually dog free, and then my wife let them in, so apologies.
Well, Mrs. Division, she's got her stuff to do too, so we understand that. And my dogs will start barking as soon as Mrs. Nerdrotic gets home. I just did a live stream with him. I met him a couple weeks ago. I consider him a friend. He is a cool dude. He's a member of the Fandom Menace, and he's also on a little show called Steven Crowder. Quarter Black Garrett, what is up, my friend?
What's up? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I got my whiskey ready. I got a little bottle here.
You're going to need it.
I'm going to need it. I got ready, so I'm ready to go in.
Excellent. And finally, we have the author of the Fandom Menace book on the show. It has taken me much too long to get. Author Stephen Walton. What is up, my friend?
What's up, Gary? Hail the Fandom Menace. It's wonderful to be on here with this illustrious group of personalities that I've been watching and taking notes of for a long time now. And thanks a lot for having me on, Gary.
You are quite welcome, and thanks for coming on. And I love this new Friday Night Tights thing. I hope you guys do too, with all these people on. And last week was a lot of fun. And some of those people will come back. I know a lot of people love Drunk 3PO. What's there not to love? He's great. I've already booked him for a future appearance. Yeah, we'll get him.
What else needs to be said?
Yeah, I mean, that hat, just alone, the fedora.
Freaking pimp hat was awesome.
And the coke from the storm. I mean, you get cocaine from a hurricane.
Yeah.
You're,
incredible.
High profile.
Where in the hell was that when I was doing cocaine? You know how much trouble I had to go through to get cocaine? I mean, it's not easy to get.
You mean you don't just pick it up off the beach? I mean, that's how I get it.
No, I mean, like, well,
free bag.
Actually, it's pretty easy to get in San Francisco. I'm not gonna lie.
San Francisco, man. Come on.
It actually came to me, so which was very bad. Okay, so there is a lot of topics to cover today. Some are kind of nasty, so we're gonna save them for later, honestly. And as Comics Division knows, I have been back and forth. I was gonna make a video on it and decided not to. We'll just talk about it here. But I think we should start out with let's start out with Terminator. Let's start out with Terminator.
Why?
Do we have to?
Come on, guys. It's such fun.
I know, but there's an interesting article in The Guardian, if I can find it. And there it is. And I skimmed over it. And we all know this movie's going to just suck.
It's gonna blow chunks.
And it seems it's a surprise to some people that if you just swap females out for men and then you have them act like men in a movie that's normally, you know, for men, and they don't act like women, that it doesn't really count as a different movie or a major change, or you're not breaking any ground, you're not moving anything forward, you're actually moving things backward. And please remind me to play you a clip that somebody sent me today from, of all people, Freddie Prinze Jr. Freddie Prinze Jr., who has run afoul of the Fandom Menace before, said something brilliant on his podcast the other day, or I think it was yesterday, that we should applaud him for. I mean, don't forget what he said before, but we should applaud him for, and I will get to that. But
you got to reward the good behavior and you know, punish the bad.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So, yeah, we got Can shifting to a female-focused future overcome Terminator's dark fate's bad buzz. For one, aptly named movie. I mean, really.
Yeah,
yeah.
That is its bad buzz. I don't know what you're talking about. That is the bad buzz.
It truly is. So, listen, everybody wanted Sarah Connor back. That was great. You know, I wish she was in a film that was directed by James Cameron and written by James Cameron. Yes. And we all know now that he wasn't even on the set for this.
Yeah.
He's been in New Zealand doing his thing. So I'll read a little bit of this because there's a point why I'm reading this, because people have done videos on this, and but the Guardian has a different angle on it. You see, after
is it really all that different, Gary?
No.
I mean, actually, it's the Guardian.
It's the Access Media angle, which remains the same.
Yeah.
After a string of sequels that have failed to hit the mark, James Cameron may be turning to strong whammon to rescue the franchise. Will it work?
Didn't they try that with Genesis?
Yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah,
like Sarah Connor was like bossing Kyle around, even though that made no sense compared to the original. And then you know Arnie was just her tool in that film. Like she was it. She was the bee's knees. Remember? I remember watching that trailer when she said, "Come with me if you want to live."
Yeah.
It was like, oh,
but if you think about it,
no.
Well, it's
and you don't have to think about it that hard. This movie is nothing more than another reboot of Genesis.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just as bad as Linda Hamilton saying "I'll be back." It's the same cringe. Like, no,
I laughed so hard when she said that.
Yeah,
but for the wrong reasons, though.
Yeah.
What I love about this article already is the fact that it says James Cameron is turning the page when he has very little to do with the film. Yeah. And then secondly, the whole campaign of this film has been whammon. So it obviously has no idea what's going on with this movie.
And then, you know, none of them are acting like women. Okay, so it's male appropriation. They are acting like men, like and you know that this Terminator Protector, you know why it's a woman. It is that technology only works on women. They can't do it with men.
That's a woman? I thought that was Justin Bieber.
It might be.
Well, yeah, and basically what we'll end up getting is instead of women, we're getting dudes with tits.
Yeah. Oh, wait, Justin Bieber's a dude?
Maybe.
I thought he was a lesbian.
That's by the way, in the trailer, Sarah takes credit for preventing Judgment Day, and I was like, "Ooh!"
Oh yeah.
Even though a big deal in T2 was that she finally reconciles the fact that Terminators aren't specifically always bad, and she's like, "You know what? You did a good job. You're a good guy." Hey, John Miles. Everyone forget Miles died to stop. Like I was just like, "Oh, you pissed me off already. We haven't even watched the film."
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So the whole thing is, Terminator 2 counted, but it only stopped that fate. And there's a dark fate, then there's a darker fate, then there's darkest fate. And the pages of Hollywood history are littered with failed attempts to propel movies towards box office and critical success. To pinpoint the basic construct of a film that is likely to appeal to audiences and critics alike is a virtually impossible task. Just ask the Disney executives who chose to remove the "of Mars" suffix from the big budget 2012 adaptation of Edgar Rice Burroughs' classic planetary romance novel, John Carter of Mars. ostensibly because previous movies mentioning Red Planet had bombed, and that's their thinking, folks. I mean, we have there's many reasons to not like Hollywood, and agenda is definitely one of them. But their marketing research, it's the most wasted money there. It really is. They are just bad. Other movies that had the word Mars in it bombed, so ours will too. Well, any movie with "the" in it, well,
that's logic. That's logic, Gary. What are you talking about?
It must be.
No one likes Mars. Come on.
No. So only to see a perfectly decent fantasy flick lose more than 200 million at the box office, and really, I did like the movie. I did.
Yeah, I liked that movie too.
I didn't hate it at all. Yeah.
Or the executives who felt Ridley Scott's 1982 sci-fi masterpiece Blade Runner was so confusing that it needed to be tacked on happy ending and a Harrison Ford voiceover, which I liked, to smooth away all those jagged edges. The result was a movie that languished in critical purgatory for a decade until Scott released the seminal director's cut in 1992.
That sounds like bullshit to me.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
This is maybe it's a 20-year-old. I mean, no offense to 20-year-olds. There's a lot of really fucking smart 20-year-olds like Word of Wolf and Rags and Mahler. But not in the access media. I mean, there's dumb 50-year-olds in the access media too, and in the world. But I was there, and people who saw Blade Runner, there was a group of us who liked it a lot. I would call it cult for a little while. But everybody who actually saw it liked it. Just a lot of people didn't see it. And a lot of people wanted Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, and they got this, the normies did not take to it very well, we'll just say.
But the sci-fi nerds did.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you could say that kind of about, the same thing with Terminator as well.
Yeah, the first Terminator?
The
first one, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know how much money.
The second one, though, that accessed into the mainstream like crazy. I watched that when I was 8.
Yep. And Jim Cameron is the absolute best at tapping into the normies. There's nobody better on the planet.
Normies love him. I don't know what it is. They just love those giant ships that crash, water.
And, I'm going to get criticism for this.
Yeah.
James Cameron is just a better Michael Bay. That's it. I mean, that's what he is. His writing
I'm
is.
not going to disagree with you. I'm totally not going to disagree with you on that.
I agree.
I like Bad Boys too with The Rock. So
I like there. As a matter of fact, I've really come around on Michael Bay considering what we've gotten lately, and I do like a lot of his movies. I do, but James Cameron is just like a toned down, better writing. But it's not. It's very simplistic, and that's good in a good way. On the other hand, there are movies that everyone knows are going to struggle. Sadly for James Cameron and Tim Miller, producer and director, Tim Miller fired Deadpool director Tim Miller. The forthcoming Terminator Derp Fate, it appears the latest sequel to Cameron's classic has already been written off. I don't know where did these reports. Odin, do you know where these reports came from?
No. I think that it's just. You know how they always have we're tracking the numbers. So they must be tracking pre-sales, I'm wondering. And that's where they're getting their information from.
And to admit that out loud. It must be so much worse.
Yeah, it has to be. Just look at the freaking trailer. Compare it to the original two, I won't say the original two, the first two Terminator films. What did you get? You got an unstoppable murder machine. And in these trailers, we don't get anything really exciting. We see Grace beating the crap out of faux Terminator, and that's really it. And it's like, that doesn't build
But we get
tension.
double Terminator.
Oh, but we
How
get
cool
double
is
Terminator.
that?
Oh, God, that's
Double.
cool. It's cool when there's tension and you're afraid of the thing that is out to murder you. But you don't get that. And that's kind of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of the Predator trailer, where they were like, "Look, that Predator's like twice the size of a Predator. Look at that. That's so
it's the
much cooler."
Super Predator.
Yeah,
It's like, guys, you're missing the point. You're missing it so dramatically.
Well, I think if we didn't have such a hyper state of wokeness going on in Hollywood and them pushing that kind of narrative so much, that this trailer might have been maybe better received. I just don't think that the Terminator in this one it really offers anything. It's not exciting. There's nothing in these trailers that's it made me excited at all for that character.
Exactly.
The only thing I am excited for is seeing Linda Hamilton again, honestly, because I was, when I grew up when Terminator 2 came out, I loved that movie. It was a cultural event that lasted for a long time, had a lot of resonance. They just have never been able to recapture that, and I don't think Dark Fate's going to do it, and I think they know it too.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right that everything in this trailer, it's all stuff we've seen from Terminator movies that have not worked. Like, oh, you've got a liquid one. Oh, okay, he's not just liquid; he's got an endoskeleton on the inside. It's all the same exact beats from the movies.
Which is just worse than the T-1000.
Yeah,
Right.
Worse. So,
Well, I mean, as far as like the progression of technology, though, like it makes sense what the new bad Terminator. It makes sense that what they did with that character. It's just that there's nothing in it that really generates any excitement as far as the story in any of the trailers or leaks that we've been given.
Well, like, even the times they copy the originals were frustrating me, right? Because like Terminator 2 is very, very close to my heart. So you have the scene where Arnie's like they've crashed the cars into each other, the liquid nitrogen lorry versus the little family truck thing, and he like climbs all the way up in that really awesome wide shot, and then just blasts the like I don't know if it's an M16 or whatever into the T-1000's face, and you just get him obliterated. And they have that in the new trailer, and I was just like, why did you steal that?
Yeah,
Why, make your own stuff. Stay away from that stuff.
Because they want you to remember. That's why.
Right.
They want you to remember all the good things, and it's not going to be the good
It's
things.
like they're reinventing all these films, and they're with the woke agenda, really, and they're trying to hit all the nostalgia.
That out, this movie is going to be forgettable, and that's like the thing that I find so ridiculous about this is what makes that movie memorable is the woke garbage, because it really does make it stand out. You take that away, this movie has nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got nothing new. It's not bringing anything new to the table.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, it's actually taking things away. It's taking things away that could possibly make things better.
And that's what Hollywood has been doing, this overcorrection, which again, I have audio of a Hollywood actor admitting to it, which, I mean, it's obvious, but we know, but to hear it is so goddamn encouraging. I was so fired up when this person sent it to me, and this person is, unfortunately, they're anonymous. And I can't say more than that, but it'll make Mrs. Nerdrotic happy. She likes Freddie Prinze, and I told him, before I heard this, I heard Freddie Prinze's name mentioned. I'm like, F that dude. You talk shit about the Phantom Menace, but it's believe me, it's encouraging. And he says something very interesting about hashtags that I agree with. All right, let's get back to this, and then we'll get to you in the chat. Quick announcement. I still have to do a super chat square up for the Inquisition. That will be tomorrow at noon, just to let you know. And I got some letters to read. So Toxic Mailbag, super chat square up tomorrow at noon. On the other hand, there are movies that everyone knows are going to struggle, blah, 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 blah. Reports suggest that the film is which restores the timeline and to a certain extent the main cast, overseen by Cameron in the original 1984 movie and its groundbreaking 1991 follow-up Terminator 2, blah, 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 will open to just 35 to 40 million. I'm guessing it's closer to 30. That's my guess. It's rated R, right?
I have no idea.
That part's interesting.
Know,
I'm pretty sure it is rated R, and it's just like, I don't know if that's going to do anything for you.
Probably not.
No, and what's Tim Miller did a lot of original things. I thought in Deadpool. I thought Deadpool 1 was a great movie. Yeah, I was really high on the guy until he said what he said, and now I know why he said it. Like he was trying. I mean, he knows he's got a giant turd on his hands. He had to stir up something. Yeah, and he, just trying to shield himself from the critics. Because the fundamental problem is what Comics Division, what all of you guys said is neither the Terminator nor the Protector are intimidating, scary. It just looks like cosplay. I'm sorry. I can't change how I feel about that. So, but much can change between now and the movie's release date in 6 weeks' time. Positive early reviews and word of mouth could build buzz for the project. And there are Terminator fans out. They're ready to turn this into major smash hit if the creative team can restore the brooding, nightmarish, blue-collar futurism of the I'm going to rewind that. I didn't read that part. Okay. And there are Terminator fans out there ready to you ready for this, Mueller? Ready to turn this into a major smash if the creative team can restore the brooding, nightmarish, blue-collar futurism of the early films.
It's not going to work. They're not going to pull it off. If to make a sequel to T2, which is clearly what they're going for, they want to decanonize 3, 4, and 5, if we can just call them that instead of Salvation and Genesis. It's not going to work. It's so complicated to make a good sequel to T2. I would suggest stopping. You don't actually need any more story, other than maybe doing a story about the future, the war, and what happens to John Connor, just to see the conclusion. That's all.
Right.
But instead, we're going to have a story where, as you told me, assuming this is true, John Connor will be in this film for about 5 minutes, and
yeah.
If everything goes the way that you said,
oh no!
That's like
it's the reason why I say it's a remake of Genesis, because it's exactly the same thing that happens to John. He dies technically in Genesis and becomes a Terminator. But I agree. Terminator, what they should have done is been pushing it forward and concluding it with the War with the Machines. And I kind of covered this in my video talking about the trailer and what my thoughts were on the franchise. And we started to get that with Salvation. Salvation has issues, but it was taking the franchise in the right direction. And honestly, if you guys want to go with the Salvation direction, there's a comic series. I'm trying to remember. It's Salvation Final Battle, which concludes what Salvation, the movie, started. And it's actually a pretty decent run. I want to say it's 12 issues. It's a pretty good series.
Sarah Connor Chronicles. That was great. That TV show was great. It ended too soon, and that felt like a true sequel to T2 that was working for me. That would have eventually led to the War with Machines and stupid Fox.
I do have to say, decanonizing Genesis was an extremely good idea, though.
Yep.
Yes.
Remember how before you even think about anything that happens in that movie, apparently a T-1000 went back to when Sarah was a child to kill her, and an Arnie bot saved her life and became her dad, and we never find out who even did that. Before even a horrible other thing happens in that film, that's already like, what? What are you? Why?
I mean, that's as bad as bringing Palpatine back at the very end of a. Oh, never mind. It's fair to ask why audiences have failed to get turned on by advanced publicity. It's fair to ask why audiences have failed to get turned on. Well, I guess it's fair to ask it. I think it's a pretty obvious question, obvious answer. Trailers showing the return of Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor, now protecting a new protege, Natalie Reyes, Danny Ramos, from termination by sophisticated machines from the future have been relatively well received.
What?
Have they?
Have they?
What? I'm gonna need receipts on that.
I mean, the general sentiment is probably, "Ooh, Terminator movie, neat." But
I guess it depends on your circles. I think people are excited about Sarah Connor, but that's it.
I feel like we're in the same journey with Terminator, Predator, and Alien. All three franchises are going through the exact same thing, constantly retreading the original 80s elements of all of them, just desperately trying to recapture it. And it's Terminator's turn. We recently had Predator. Before that was Alien Covenant. So next up will be an Alien reboot, I guess, after this one fails, and then it'll back to Predator, back to I'm waiting for to just buy all properties and release a big universe with all three of them, and it fails horribly.
I think all the good faith has kind of been wasted with the last few films that haven't really been that good. And when you add that bad faith on top of just shite writing, from what we can tell, in character development, that's been the trend in Hollywood. That's why there's no excitement.
Yeah.
Well, you look at Alien directly screws with the origin of the alien, tries to explain all of it. Predator changes it from a sport hunting killing machine into searching for genetics to improve it to find a planet to live on. And Terminator kills John Connor. It's like, what are you guys doing? You literally go back and ruin everything. I could understand you trying to make a good sequel, but it seems like you want to destroy these things. And let's not even get going on Star Wars trying to destroy everything.
Yeah,
that's such a mess.
Yeah, that seems to be their angle. Is like, oh, let's take a property that everybody loves, everything that everybody loves about it. Let's change it, or actively destroy those things in the movie.
To prove a point.
And then whenever people get mad, they go, "Oh, you're just a man baby. Oh, you're just toxic fans." It's like you just took what I liked and then killed everything about it that I liked and said, "Oh, this is what it is now. It's this now. It's not yours."
It's almost like a thought experiment.
Ironic because when it comes to their properties, things that they love, they don't want changed. Because there was an article from the Mary Sue earlier this year where they were announcing the Black Buffy. And you had people, screeching, saying, "No, don't change Buffy. We like it the way it is." And they're not called sexist or racist or misogynistic, because it's they're on the right side.
Well, it's like there's no nuance in anything that they're trying to like. If they really want to push, diversity and powerful women characters, we've already had those kinds of characters in the past. Absolutely. They were well written. Yeah. Just let the story produce that great character instead of making that the angle, because once you start trying to draw people in with that lore, we just see it for what it is, and we don't want it.
Going from Alien, Predator, and Terminator, by the way, if you translate this into Back to the Future and Gremlins, they're two properties I'm waiting to get destroyed next. How would you do it? It's like, you create a movie that explores Doc's past. He was a nerdy kid who was picked on and he wanted to kill everybody, and he created a time machine to try and do it. You're like, no. Gremlins, they're a device created by America to try and kill everybody that went wrong. You're like, what are you doing? No, stop it. No. Everything. Leave it alone.
Oh, it'll be a strong. Is alive.
It'll be a strong woman of science who creates the Gremlins, though.
Oh, and sure.
and then the men will have perverted it in some way or another. Yeah. But no, you're right, Odin.
It's the Mogwai. It's going to be a little girl. She's going to be the savior. She's special. Nobody knows what she really is.
The key to everything.
Everything.
Of course, Billy Peltzer will be in the film, but he'll be bumbling. He'll screw something up.
Yep.
He'll be like, "Look, it's that guy," and he dies at the end, of course.
Yes.
I adore both Gremlin films so much.
They're gonna get ruined. They're coming after him soon. I'm sure of it.
Yep.
Well, talk about things that are getting ruined. Gary, did you hear about I guess they're planning on race swapping Wolverine.
I
mean.
What?
Yeah, Cosmic Book News has an article about this. They're talking about race swapping Wolverine.
He's Canadian. Why would you do that to the Canadians?
I know.
They have so little. They have so little.
I say the last rumor I heard was that Henry Cavill was going to be the next Wolverine.
Oh, really? I mean, he really? I mean, he's old.
Yeah.
I sat. I was next to him in a subway. Old. Yeah, that's true. No, okay. What do they want to swap it to?
I don't know. I haven't read the article yet. I just happened to see it on.
Why don't you just create a new? Never mind. I know the answer to that question.
Why do we ask that question so much? That's the thing with Buffy. It's like make your own characters. Like, no, we have to bank on the name while also bringing in this new woke version. You're like, but she's already a girl. It's like not good enough. Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna let a man take credit for a woman's work.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is the thing, by the way. If someone was to make like a spin-off Buffy show and they make it so the Slayers can be men and women, I'd be annoyed. I'd be like, nope, it's women only. That's the rules.
Yeah.
I wonder if I'd be called sexist then, or I wonder if I'd be an ally at that point.
Strange times, my friend.
Yeah.
Maybe
it really is, man. It really is. It's dumb.
So perhaps audiences have simply turned out too many times to catch previous sequels. You think? Perhaps Cameron's cachet as hands-on producer was damaged by the lukewarm response from Robert to Robert. Whoa! You're not blaming Alita on this. Perhaps Cameron's cachet as a hands-on producer has been damaged by the lukewarm response to Robert Rodriguez's Alita Battle Angel. That's a shot. That's a shot right there.
For sure.
That is a total shot.
What are they talking about?
They're basically they're conflating that Cameron being the producer of Alita. That's proof that his name power is gone. Well, honestly, no. I can name. There's a bunch of movies he produced that flopped, and Alita didn't flop. But I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
What was that one where your memory or reality was on a CD-ROM, and it was in the freaking 90s. It was like the first movie he produced. What the hell was Ray Fiennes was in it? Oh God! Somebody help me in the chat. You know what I'm talking about.
Didn't he like partially promote Genesis as well? He was like, He was like, I was watching it, and
Strange
oh my god,
Days?
I was seeing things I recognized.
Strange Days.
Strange
James-
Days?
oh,
I actually like Strange Days.
Yeah. But no, you're right, Mahler. He was, and I actually put that in a video. He actually said the same thing he said about this movie. He said almost word for word.
Yeah,
I
It's
lost
like-
so much respect for him promoting Genesis. I was like,
Yeah.
screw you, man. Genesis destroys Terminator as a franchise.
I think there's some serious Me Too stuff that he's fighting off. Just considering what I used to hear from that guy, like constantly. I mean, like, forget the 19 divorces and all that, but I mean, you know, he's a Hollywood. He's always been known as like this tyrannical force on the set and
Really?
screaming matches. Oh yeah, I mean that's what directors did. That's how they got shit done, though.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
work.
What I think's worse, by the way, you know, TLJ's damage to Star Wars is like they take characters and then change them, and they change rules, change all this and stuff. Or Genesis, where they literally delete Terminator 1 and 2 from existence. They're just like, they're gone, they don't exist anymore. What's actually worse?
TLJ, because like Gynesis, I can just erase from my mouth. I mean, like,
yeah. Yeah.
Gynesis is like nothing I even give respect to. And I have to, I mean, begrudgingly, I have to watch Jake Skywalker, played by Mark Hamill, the original character. And that was the first time he was back delivering lines, and
I
that's
suppose,
what
yeah,
they
it's
did.
like, you'd rather see them killed or removed from the universe than puppeteered to be something they're not. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good question. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
So I want to get back to, I want to get right down to the misogyny. Let's just get right to the misogyny. Even more unpalatable, even more unpalatable, even a more palatable prospect is that it is possible Dark Fate is suffering from a kind of misogynistic backlash that
Here we go.
affected the 2016 Ghostbusters remake. I mean, it only
Oh.
took them 4 paragraphs to
Yeah,
get
they're
it.
gonna-
They should
It
just
makes
open
sense.
that.
Nobody liked
Right.
Terminator 2, you know? Sarah Connor, oof, really unpopular character. Everyone hated her.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
So yeah, let's surround our entire marketing kit. Now, the actual film, okay, I'm not talking about the product here, but everything around it, started by Tim Miller, and well, the casting and that poster, and yeah, everything about it has been woke. That's
Yeah,
the backlash, and it's from men and women. And I'm guessing the percentage of female Terminator fans is somewhere under 10%. As like hardcore, like I'll buy the comics, I'll buy the toys, I'll buy the books, I'll buy video games, I'll watch the movies over and over again. I'm not talking about, oh, I like the Terminator movie, it's great, I love the
Sarah
Arnold
Connor has more
Schwarzenegger.
male fans than she does female fans.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gary, you can't say that, Gary. Okay. I am a female fan, Gary.
Yes, I know, but I can say it.
What the funny thing too is that they always ignore the female fan outrage, but they always
Yeah.
focus on the male because it's so easy to point your finger and say, "Look, they hate women. They're misogynist."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, just
It's
my
this a
wife
trick.
says that all the time.
Yeah, it's a trick they've been pulling since the Battlestar Galactica reboot. You know, it just evolved and kept going and went through Gamergate, and now it's in Geekergate.
The Battlestar Galactica thing is an interesting subject because that's a show that fought it off. That's a show that actually there was backlash. There was just no major internet at the time. But well, for one, they started out on a bad foot. So they come out and Adama. I'm blanking. Why am I blanking on his name? Gaff from Blade Runner. Oh my God, Adama.
Edward James Olmos?
Yeah.
From American Me. Edward James Olmos comes out at Comic-Con and says, well, if you were a fan of Battlestar Galactica, you're going to hate this. That was his opening line. So we're all sitting there all, fuck you, dude. And then I saw it and I went, oh, okay. It's good. And I liked it. And I like Starbuck. And that was the way you did it. You made it a very likable character. Plus, it was it was clearly an alternate universe. You didn't change Starbuck. You made a new one in an alternate universe that no way does that cross over into Battlestar. And you can hopefully someday, not now when woke shit is over, you can go revisit Battlestar, which I love original Battlestar. And I think that could be made into something wonderful if
Will it
the
ever
right
be
people
over,
do it.
Gary?
Well,
No,
I mean,
I don't know. I don't think so.
one of the biggest problems I think was that the traditional fandom for Battlestar that had been carrying it on and hoping and wishing for something to happen were teased with a Battlestar Galactica show that had some of the original actors, and they were going as far as pre-production, and then it was just stopped and then taken over and remade into what it was. I mean, I liked the new Battlestar series. I actually enjoyed it.
I did as well.
I was very much against it before it came out, though.
Yeah.
I was right there with you. I was like, "F this show! I don't want any part of it." And more importantly, it was it was what Voyager was supposed to be too. There's bits of Star Trek, believe it or not, in there as well. So the original concepts from Voyager that they wanted, they would have never done, but that's where the ideas came from.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah. But I am still a fan of the original. I loved it. Grew up on it. Was freaking pissed when it got canceled. When Starbuck came back in Galactica 80 and they did that Enemy Mine with the Cylon. Oh my God, that was good. That was so good. Dark Fate is almost as heavily focused on female protagonists, with everyone's new favorite sci-fi queen, Mackenzie Davis, also joining. Oh, who is she? I mean, she's everybody's sci-fi queen.
No, I don't get that.
Things.
She's been in like *Halt and Catch Fire* is probably her most notable work.
She was in Preacher season 1.
Was she?
Yeah.
She was in Blade Runner 2077, or no, what was it?
20. She was. Who did she play?
She played the hooker.
Yeah, that's right. She was the main hooker.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Actress. She looks good when she's playing a girl.
Yeah. She's not a bad actor.
No, I totally agree. I didn't like Blade Runner 2049.
I can't remember most of it.
Gary, we're soulmates.
That's where I disagree. I loved it so much.
I huge fan of the original, and I wish I never saw it. Mrs. Nerdrotic, who is probably maybe a bigger fan, which is hard to say, didn't like it either.
I was blinded by the cinematography. I was so captivated by every visual effect I saw. I was like, I don't care if the story isn't that great. I love everything I'm seeing.
It looks beautiful. I can't remember anything that happened in the story, but it looks beautiful.
It is.
I enjoyed it for what it was worth. I mean, I wouldn't call it Blade Runner, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
Mahler, how many people walk slowly to doors?
I was 50-50 on it, maybe like 60-40 in terms of dislike to like. I was like, but then I had my best friend, like in real life, who's like Blade Runner the original is his favorite piece of media in history. He showed me it because I didn't go to see it in cinema. I wasn't interested. I don't think Blade Runner needed a sequel, but we watched it, and then he was like, right, now let me explain to you everything that's wrong with this. And I was like, okay. And he did it for like hours, and by the end of it, I was like, oh my God, this is disaster. The new Blade Runner is awful. And,
in this article,
him to make a video.
Yes, you do. And in this article, they talked about the tagged on happy ending for Deckard. What did they do at the end of Blade Runner 2049? That's one of the things people hated the most about the theatrical version was the happy ending. And they gave him a fucking happy ending. It's like, what? All right. And this guy's going to do Dune. And visually, he's an amazing director. I don't get me wrong, but everything he does is really slow. And
Sapochnik was pretty damn good visually in Game of Thrones. That didn't help in season 8, did it?
Nope. Well, because he had checked out. I mean, I did a video. I'm sorry, but I'm a YouTuber. I did a video on this, and in the interview, he said, I don't like genre. I mean, he's really good at something he doesn't like. That's a bummer.
In fairness, we had the wrong TV settings. I'm sure all of us.
It was our fault.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot they blamed on TV
settings.
That's
just like it's our fault. Terminator's gonna suck. I was listening to Midnight's Edge live stream, and they were discussing Solo. And I'll correct everybody on this. And this is just the most obvious thing. A movie doesn't change by its release date or word of mouth. It's either good or bad to the general public. And like Solo, they were discussing if it would have done better if it was released at a different time. Nope. It could have been the only movie released that entire year. It would have gotten the same response because it's a boring movie. And the general public, it did what it was going to do no matter what. There are a few rare circumstances where the movie studio fucks up, like John Carter, but I still think John Carter, if you put of Mars, might have tagged on 10, 15 more million. That's about it. People just wouldn't have gone. And it's too bad. But that's it. So this movie was never going to be good. And I was convinced before I saw a frame of it after I watched your video on Predator, Mahler, because I'm like, oh, this is just going to be another Predator. I mean, it's almost beat for beat the same thing. We're going to redo this, amp this thing up, put some more whammon in.
And like Predator, T2, and Aliens, and Alien, and T1, they're all very close to my heart, and I have to watch them get shredded once per like 4 years. Yep. Yeah, I was so pissed in the cinema for the Predator when they announced the stupid revamped history of the Predators. Like my friend told me to stop shouting. I was like, this is so stupid.
That's the one that came out the most recent, right? Because that's I
came out last
people thought Shane Black would save it, and I was like, did you see Iron Man 3? That might be unpopular.
But you see, that's why I kind of like the Predator, not because it's a good Predator movie, but because I was entertained by Shane Black humor. But that's
I usually like it. But now I'm a fan of it. But come on, Gabe Perry. We're going to get to the chat. We're going to get to you in a second. And I'm going to wrap up this article because we've got to get to how it's bothersome to the trolls because of the sexist misogyny. And, listen, the most talk about this film is going to be leading up to it. The minute it gets released, like I say about Star Trek Discovery, it will be its own worst enemy by it existing. While Cameron has slightly odd sense of ownership over the entire concept of championing strong women, it's hard. Well, because he's into them, that's obvious. It's hard to argue that the fact that the films have done just that. But previous Terminator movies have frequently featured a male triumphative of John Connor, Kyle Reese, and the T-800 Terminator. Yeah, Terminator it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger action vehicle. That's it. That's it. It's freaking Running Man. That's it. At their core, even if there are some episodes, one or more, those or presented as a shadowy or even unborn figure, there are suggestions that Edward Furlong may return as Connor in Dark Fate, potentially through some sort of digital de-aging. What seems certain is that he and Connor are no longer the heart of the Terminator's future. In every Terminator movie since the original, it has been Skynet's intention to defeat the male leader of the post-apocalyptic human resistance. But the Dark Fate is a young woman, Danny, who everyone is trying to murder to protect from evil robot oppressors, because she is the key to everything. If that is bothering the trolls, and there are hints that the latest trailer that Danny may be the mother of a future resistance leader rather than the leader herself, then surely it holds out some hope for the rest. This might be a belated attempt by Cameron to wrest Terminator back from the men in suits who put it back on track and put it back on track. And frankly, it would be preferable if he could have been bothered to find time to direct or even turn up on the set. But at least he is finally switching up the narrative and sending us on to unknown territory. Okay, unknown territory. Unknown territory.
Switching up the narrative. Okay.
The robots are going to chase the people. The people are going to run from the robots. They'll defeat the robots, but then the fate will continue.
What's unknown because it's not Skynet.
This isn't the franchise for that. This whole franchise is built on the idea that we know what happens in the future. So why would it be unknown?
That line is so perfect at how unaware the shill media is. It's like it's the same fucking thing. Okay, let's be honest. Whether they call it Skynet or not, they're still sending man machines back to kill someone. It's
the first order thing. It's the first order. First order is just the Empire. Just because you call it something different doesn't mean it is something different. It's the same exact
new management, new branding, new Terminators, new Skynet. But we're not calling it those things. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Death Star is a Death Star. I mean,
exactly.
But it's Starkiller Base. It's not the Death Star. Never mind the fact that it's round and has a giant space laser.
It shoots enough to have its own atmosphere. I tell you,
it shoots 5 planets, not just one.
Yeah, it shoots the whole galaxy.
Totally better.
So better.
You love the T1, T2. John Connor is going to be a respected leader of humanity that's going to take us to victory. T3, he's a drug-addled idiot. You're like, okay. T4, he's a guy who's a bit more respectable, Christian Bale, but he ends up getting a heart replacement from like a Terminator, and you're like, oh, that's weird. And there's a whole bunch of retcons in that film, but I still think it's stronger than 3 or 5.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
5, he gets turned into the villain. You're like, okay. But at least that was post saving the war, so it's like, all right, you have something to play with. It's still stupid. And then this one is just like, oh, he's dead.
no, he's dead.
Fuck it, he's out.
He's literally, John Connor's been treated so horribly since T2.
Yeah.
It sucks, man, because I mean
and he never defeated the robots.
Yeah, he never defeated the robots.
He never accomplished anything.
Yeah, as a Terminator fan, that's what I see. That's all I ever wanted was to see John Connor defeat Skynet. That's all I want to see, and I'm never going to get it.
You're a misogynist.
I think they're just building up the defense for when it fails now. You know, start blaming on the misogyny and all that, and then as soon as it comes out, my only question will be, if it does fail, are they going to go on the attack like the Ghostbusters 16?
Absolutely,
Probably.
they are.
Yeah.
That's
their MO.
And
that's their marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking before about the rating, so it has not been given a rating yet. But I posted what was announced at Comic-Con, where the director, Tim Miller, said that it would be rated R. However, something tells me that they might be making some cuts, because if it's rated R, that film's not making any damn money.
Yeah.
Because even a film like Godzilla, because I was looking up to see what a similar film might be. Godzilla, King of Monsters, which did not make a lot of money, by the way, over the summer box office, made $47 million domestically in its opening weekend. And if this is projected to make 30 to 35 million, and it's going to be a rated R film, that movie's not going to make anything.
It's rated R. It is rated R. So
just a thought, by the way. If they're saying that this is continuity after T2 and John actually does die, then why in T1 did Kyle Reese not specify you got to save his life from after you defeat Judgment Day because he dies again? Like, it changes. This is the thing. I'm like raring to jump on this thing for ruining everything again, because that's all they ever do. They never like work hard to get a script that makes sense.
If they kill John Connor in the beginning of this movie, every time I watch T2, I'm going to be like, okay, well, what's the point of this?
Yep.
They go through this whole movie trying to protect John Connor, and then he's just going to die.
Day. Just bring on Judgment Day early, because you end up with it anyway. So
create a decent post-apocalyptic movie of humans versus robots. Make it, write it well, and that could be a great continuation.
Yeah, it's like the hyperspace ram. Now, every time I watch a Star Wars, I'm like, well, this is useless because they could just hyperspace ram it.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. Nobody thought about it before Holdo. Holdo was the first person to think about it.
It was the hair.
Even though Hux sees it coming, even though Hux clearly knows it's going to happen, and for some reason everybody's aware of it, but nobody ever does it.
Do you think they named him Hux because it sounds like Hux? I think they really did.
I kind of do.
Absolutely.
I just thought of that, and it's taken me a long time. Sorry.
Seriously, you haven't thought about that yet?
No, but I mean,
Jesus Christ! I walked out of the movie theater thinking,
really,
General Cux at that point.
Considering in the opening of the film, he blows up an empty base instead of every single remaining Resistance member.
Yeah.
I'm the guy. I'm the guy who saw Pulp Fiction like 20 years later. Went, oh wait, do you think that was Marcellus's soul in that? They were angels.
Dude, you're killing me, man. You're killing me.
Captain Destiny for $14.99 says he sent me a package, and you should receive it. Should have received it on Monday. I'll go pick it up tomorrow. Destiny Captain, thank you very much. Thank you very much. One of the things in there needs to go in the dryer for 10 minutes for a heat set. Okay, I will do it. I own a dryer. I will put it in there for 10 minutes. You're awesome.
And another piece has to be inflated.
Awesome. Captain Destiny, you are the best viewer ever. Thank you. Time Traveler registered trademark for Australian $5. It says, hail Gary, please have Oddity creators on your show. It's a great book. Slacker, mutant, frog guy in a swamp. Okay, well, man, you have me at frog guy in a swamp. Will do. For Australian $5. And another one says, and please have me and Kat Bellatrix on to talk Lovecraft on Cats of Ulthar animated. but it's not. If not, get Oddity. Oh, please. Well, I'll try. I don't know what any of that is, but I'll figure it out, my friend. I will figure it out, of course. Silhouetted Animator for $2 said Sid Haig, who was in ICU last week, is making a strong recovery. So welcome. But good Sid Haig is doing good. And Salad, yeah, that's good. Salad King for $1.99. I just DM'd and I diagnosed myself with drunk. Okay.
Hey, me too.
Don't drive. Don't drive. Why are feminists appropriating male lead movies? Right? I don't know if I'm the first one who said male appropriation, but I'm saying it a lot. You don't see guys trying to appropriate Pride and Prejudice or Annie. Well, that's true. Well, I was going to say Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, but it was still Pride and Prejudice. Crackling, you're right.
Not for Tu Wong Fu.
And Tu Wong Fu.
But Gary, I don't care what anyone says. Oliver, even though it came out before Annie, totally appropriated it. Like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Imagine if they like rebooted Buffy and it was with Benny and he was a guy.
There is a way they could do it that would be woke. There is a way they could reboot Buffy with a guy and it be woke. I'll just let you use your imaginations. Salad King, $1.99 says hi, Mooshly. Mooshly.
Hello there.
Mooshly. All right, we're gonna so in a here, let's get back to here because I want to talk to Mueller some more. Mueller, are you gonna be able to come back? Because I'm gonna kick Mike Miller in the balls for inviting himself. He better bring it. But are you gonna be able to come back in like 45 minutes or are you busy?
Yeah, sure. Just let me know.
Okay. I'm sorry, and I apologize to everybody, but Mike S. Miller invited himself, so man, he better bring it to the table, dude.
What a bastard!
What an ass, man. What an
I'm
ass.
just kidding.
Jeez.
But we got a couple more minutes with Mueller, so and then he'll come back. By the way, your last video, dude, was so good. Was so good.
I was so upset.
Oh my god! I managed. I got an extra workout out of it. I just decided to stay in the gym for a couple hours, and it was nice. It was good. So applause.
A lot of people would be leaving comments where they're like, "Oh, the plot summary's over. I'm near the end of the video." It's like not even halfway. Okay.
It's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. But well done. We have some Game of Thrones news that I'm going to save to when Mueller comes back, so he and I can discuss what they're thinking, because I have no idea what they're thinking by doing what they're doing.
They have no idea what they're thinking. That's
no, they really don't. And it's this thing that, I mean, the internet exists, and it would be really cheap to hire an intern. And I know they have them at the companies. They must just not pay them well or not listen to them. You can get a very good general sentiment of what the fandom is thinking about your product by just paying attention. By just looking around, going full steam ahead on stuff when there is the Game of Thrones backlash was as big as the Fandom Menace. It was filled with normies. It was a different type of backlash.
Yes.
Yes.
It was massively huge. I mean, I had 24,000 people on a live stream, and Mueller had like the same number on the same night. So that's very unusual, by the way, for any YouTuber, even huge YouTubers. So people were upset. People were mad.
The pain is real.
Yeah.
It's very real.
Very real. Very real. So we will get to that. But yeah. So let's bring in Mike S. Miller. I love you, man. I'm sorry we're switching.
It's okay.
This out.
It was good to meet you.
Wonderful to meet you too, sir.
It was nice to meet you, Mueller.
And we're gonna have Mueller back. Oh God, this kills me to remove him. And bring in this guy right here. What's up, Mike S. Miller?
But
Look what you did.
It's not Mike S. Miller.
It's
It's half Jap Mike.
Oh, that's what you're doing. You're stealing my brand. You're stealing my brand. You can't do that. It's not cool at all.
Just riding your coattails, Garrett. Just riding your coattails, man.
And what is he? He rolls in with the racial.
Garrett, you're killing
slur.
me with this.
Jesus.
That's right.
What's
right.
up, Mike S. Miller? How's it going, man?
You invited me. You're the worst.
I don't
I
recall.
can't help it if you have Alzheimer's. Jeez.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to back him up. I did hear you say that he was gonna come on.
No, I'm just giving him a hard time. I know.
I'm just saying.
That's how we do.
That's how
Everyone
we
has
do.
to give me a hard time.
So we got Mike S. Miller in here so we can talk about
Bloody hell, I am
DC
glowing.
Comics. You are glowing. So I was going to do a video. I recorded the video. I was going to show it to Comics Division, and I'm like, fuck it. I don't want to put it up because it's about Zoe Quinn. I don't want to really get into her sordid history and everything. We all know what she did. I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah, I was too.
Echo. Not anymore.
Is it me?
It might be. I don't know. And
Do you have headphones on?
Zoe.
I can put them on.
Yeah, it might help.
I just
yeah.
turned you down.
Yeah. So Zoe got hired. She was already working for DC Comics for Vertigo. And listen, she tried to meet to an independent gamer. Some news has come out that shows that might not necessarily be true. I don't know all the facts and I don't care.
I thought that was like her boyfriend for a while or something.
It maybe. And this guy named Alec, poor guy, had some problems. So he left this mortal coil, and listen, that was his decision.
Yeah, that was her boyfriend.
Yeah, that was his decision that she, I would say played a part in what she did for sure.
Yeah.
And would the guy have done it anyway later on? Who knows? I don't know. That's not we can't speculate that because he did it over this situation, whatever. That being said, the Quartering has done a lot of good work on that. So go check out, he's got a playlist. It's called an Alec playlist. And I'll link it in the description later. That'll give you all the background on that. But DC Comics yesterday, thanks to Bounding Into Comics, brought her on to write a comic. And guess what the title is? It's called Deathbringer.
I mean, she is very knowledgeable. I mean, you could say
Art imitating life.
Yeah, she's also bringing death to the comic book industry, so it's rather appropriate.
It is appropriate on a couple levels. That's what I was thinking. That's what I said in my video. And the thing is, I want to steer this towards the comic book industry and in particular the publishers who hired her. And listen, I'm not about canceling people. She has every right to earn a living. She, but the optics of this, an industry that's in a lot of goddamn trouble right now. And this really isn't about her at all. It's about why DC hired her. And we all know why DC hired her. It was a giant middle finger to freaking Comicsgate. That's it. That's all this was. A petty middle finger to Comicsgate. You want to bury. If I was still owning a store, I would be freaking screaming at people at DC right now. I'd be screaming at Diamond. I'd be screaming at everybody. Like, my livelihood is now dependent on petty fucking squabbles with DC who want to hire their friends over political agenda. And like this tells us everything we need to know about the big two right now. I don't know what you guys think about it. That's what I think about it, though.
I don't know, man. I've
I don't think this.
Go ahead.
This isn't the first time. They've been doing this crap since before Comicsgate was ever a thing. So
yeah,
this is just a freaking crappy road they're going down.
The thing is let me elaborate. They've always done stuff like this, and it definitely gave me sleepless nights as a common sense person. But generally back in the day when Levitz was around, I'm talking 10, 15 years ago, like they wanted to make money ultimately. And when I left the comic book industry, it was pretty healthy. It wasn't great, but it was as good as it had been in a long time. This was 2013. So this was before SJW Marvel started coming in. But I mean, obviously 2016, like reprogrammed their brains and they can't think anymore. And like people
blew a fuse.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it.
Mike, you know, some of the creators, I don't, I just know that people fundamentally changed after that. Like their work changed. And now,
case in point, dude, Tom Taylor and Mark Waid. But, I worked with Tom on Injustice for 6 years, and then Trump got elected and something just snapped in his head, man. And then everything he started coming out, especially all his Marvel stuff, was just this SJW pablum. It was just, driving the nails into the coffin of the comic book industry. Yeah. A lot of people, and unfortunately, a lot of those people work in the comic book industry.
Yeah, Mark Waid was an author that I recommended to people all the time. I loved his books. I pretty much, he was on a roll in the mid 2000s. That was unbelievable. He kind of found his way again and was writing, pretty damn good books. I know Razor Fist hates his run on Daredevil. I liked it. And yeah, but Irredeemable, I liked at the time. And
his JLA run,
he just completely lost it. And now they're just, doubling and tripling down. And that's, so it's not about Zoe, it's about the hire. And, it just hit me personally. I'm like, oh, there's no way they're ever going to turn around now. I mean, whatever percentage chance I thought there, and I thought it was like in, 0.001% chance they could change. It's not happening now. We need to like really walk away. If you are a centrist to the right, or even, center left to the right, they don't like you. They don't want you as a customer. They don't respect you.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue writing comics that insult you. And, but please give us your money, but we'll continue to insult you. I mean, it's done. It's over. It's just, we're going to watch it die now. It sucks, but that's where I'm at with it.
And remember, Gary, even liberals get the bullet too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they just keep doubling down and doubling down. They do the same thing in almost every facet of entertainment right now. They just not learning, and they keep thinking that this woke audience is going to just swell and save them, and it keeps getting disproved over and over and over again as these companies are failing. They just keep doubling down. I don't understand it. To me, it's all about rewarding this person for bad behavior. She has a history of lying, a history of bad behavior, a history of being toxic in everything she touches. And DC wants to step in and reward a person like that, especially after, I mean, she wasn't directly responsible for a person taking their own life, but she did use her influence, gathered a hate mob, and then put pressure on this person. And even his own sister, was kind of going, well, my brother has mental health problems and stuff. Imagine being in that state of mind and your own sister is kind of siding against you in order to save her own reputation. I mean, no wonder the dude offed himself. It's a tragedy.
I personally think that DC, the reason why they hired her was to get the controversy. I think they know that they're on the downslope, and they wanted to do something to bring attention to themselves. It could have been an FU to Comicsgate. I think they did it. It's the reason why they put her not on DC proper. It's the reason why they stuck her over at Vertigo, is because they didn't want her tainting any of that stuff. Never mind now, because you have books like The Furies, which is complete SJW trash, but I don't know.
But she is now writing a Superman book.
Oh, holy shit. They actually gave her a Superman book?
They moved her from Vertigo to
wow.
She is writing Superman, Batman, Deathbringer, Batman Who Laughs, alternate, and well, I'll read you.
Well, I know that they brought her over to Marvel.
No, wait.
She's going to be doing something
Marvel,
there.
at least, this was before the Alec incident. This was announced after the Alec incident. Okay, I'm going to just...
That's interesting.
John F. Trent, if you're watching John F. Trent, the genius that you are, this guy wrote an article and he just described the book. He didn't elaborate because he doesn't need to. Here is DC describing the book. A story of a hero, and this is Wonder Woman, by the way. Quinn's story will focus on Donna Troy as she becomes infected by, I'm sorry, it was Donna Troy, not Wonder Woman, infected by the Batman Who Laughs toxin and turns her into the worst version of herself. DC Comics describes the story, a story of a hero who is done with bringing peace to the world that cannot be trusted with it, a woman whose newly awakened dark side is ready to burn it all down and forge a new destiny. And then John F. Trent dropped the mic because he just described the next issue and that's it. And this is after they knew. I mean, they must have been, I'll agree with the quartering on this, must have been interviewing her for this book, either via text, email, whatever, while this stuff was going on. There's no way they weren't aware of it. And they brought her on. If she had written comics before or stories in video games that were amazing, honestly, I would, listen, she's never shown any desire to write a comic. I've never heard her in relation to comic books before. I don't know how good Goddess Mode was. I know Vertigo shut down.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
So I can't think of any other reason you would hire her. I mean, for controversy, I think it's more than that. I really do. I think
Harry, you have to burn down the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Okay? As you were reading that story, I think you missed the big key there, that she's not burning down society, she's burning down the patriarchy. That's destroying it. Thank you.
That's right, because clapping would be triggering.
Oh, sorry. We can't even do this. It's this.
Yeah, that's right. Jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
I didn't do it in growly voice.
In the 80s, we had the deconstruction of the superhero. Now of the comic book industry, and they're doing a fine job of it. I think there's a reason the name.
Yeah, just the destruction.
Well, they're taking it apart piece by piece, and so deconstruction. Yeah, there's a reason the slogan of my universe is "You'll believe in heroes again," because they're doing everything they can to keep us from having heroes. You know, it's
they're gonna have
heartbreaking if you're a real comic.
It's that whole thing with everything has to be political. That's what it comes down to.
It's literally attacking the psyche of male fans and just telling them, over and over again that you're not worth anything. Misogynist Superman incoming. That's what I see.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too that I find absolutely hilarious is that now you have like this report where women aren't marrying more because they're making more money than men. And it's like, and they turn it into a female problem. It's clearly, obviously, a problem for men, but because the guys aren't stepping up, they're not making enough money, so women can go and marry them. It's just like, wow, man, this is kind of fucked.
We're gonna cover that in a second. Well, not in about an hour when we get to that Freddie Prinze Jr. footage. That's pretty good, by the way. When somebody sent me that, I'm like,
that's surprising.
I was like, do I want to look at this? I mean, I've got a lot of things to look at. And I looked at it and I was surprised. And I think
I haven't even heard that name in 20 years, man.
People are feeling safe. I think Dave Chappelle just made it safe for certain people to step out. I don't think it's any coincidence that David Chappelle happens, Walter Mosley happens, and then Bill Burr does a special. Yep. I watched it. He's no Dave Chappelle by any stretch of the imagination, but it was pretty good. And then you're going to start seeing more and more of them admitting there's an overcorrection here. And by the way, sorry,
it's getting undeniable. It's getting undeniable. At this point.
Absolutely.
Like, this is way overcorrecting. We're not even close to being equal. You're going way the other way. It's like, did you see the Miss Monopoly board game that came out?
That's what we're going to be talking about.
Every time you pass around, women get $240.
Yep.
To fight equality.
To fight, yeah.
And the original game was equal.
God.
What the fuck?
That's what we're going to be talking about in a second.
So can you identify as a woman while you're playing, just for the sake of the game?
Yeah, right. Look, just identify as a woman.
Absolutely.
So the Zoe Quinn thing, I'm trying to remember what I said at the end of my interview because I was depressed in my video. I was like legitimately depressed because it hit me again that my beloved comic industry is just unsavable, and it breaks my heart, man. And they are going to, there's already this talk about redundancies at AT&T. I fully believe someday that AT&T will shut down the comic book division. Of course, they're not going to sell off the characters. That's never happening. That's the Warner Brothers' most valuable thing is Batman. But they can outsource comic books and start making them like manga. And there's already talk, we already see Marvel kind of heading that way. And that I can certainly see that happening. And that might be a way to save some comic shops, but not all. But they'd have to fundamentally change, and hopefully some are working that way. But I mean, I wouldn't want to work with these people. Like, no way in hell. Like, there's no way I have a desire to open a comic shop that sells new comics. Never. I wouldn't want to give them money.
Kind of talking about that point. I think the reason that they're willing to take all these ridiculous, I was going to say risks, but they're not risks. They're just moves in the direction of destroying the industry. Is that they are simply at this point R&D tax write-offs for Disney and AT&T. So if you have no profit motive, then why do you have to create books that are going to appeal to the biggest number of your fans, which are us older nerds, you know, older male nerds. Instead, you're trying to reach, you know, 8-year-old girls with squirrel chicks.
Older male nerds
It's like
like to pass these things on to their children too, and like to share these experiences stories with their kids.
Yeah, I'm you know, my kid is eating up old comic books and those comics that they said kids wouldn't like. I mean, he's reading Silver Age Doom Patrol. I just got him the Amazing Spider-Man omnibus so he can, because he wanted to read Dad's Steve Ditko Spider-Man's. I'm like, hell no. I'll get you an omnibus, dude. And he's eating it up. So I mean, there's still a market for it. I mean, you guys have proved that with the crowdfunding. There's still a great market.
Did you show him Lone Star?
What was that?
Did you show him Lone Star?
I haven't shown him Lone Star, but we can shout it out. Is there? I'll pull it up in a second. I got to get to it. I fully plan to shout you out. What do I need to? What are we doing right now? What are you doing? What do you have going on right now?
Lone Star's still up. Actually, my kid's game is on Indiegogo now too.
Good.
But we don't have to do that. It's all right.
We'll get it up in a second. Of course, we'll do that. I have no problem doing that. But I have to.
LoneStarComic.com is my comic book, and then Masters of Mayhem is my kid's game. Both on Indiegogo.
And once I can learn how to type there.
I didn't come to this show.
I know you didn't.
Hey, Mike, so you're going to be heading to Alamo Sunday Comic Con this year?
No. I hear it's
you're regular.
outdoors.
What's that?
I know. I was. I love that con, man. I got to hang out with, because Apple, the guy that runs the show, the art guests, like he treats the movie stars and stuff. So we're all staying in the same hotel. And so I got to hang out and spend half a night with Billy Zabka, hang out with Dean Cain. I think Garrett knows him. You just meet all these guys. It's great. Cool, and unfortunately, I'm not going to cons anymore. So.
Oh, that sucks, man.
I don't know. What are you gonna do?
Just because you don't want to, or I mean, do you want to? I don't know if you want to talk about that or not, but like, it's just.
I'd rather sit here on the internet and talk to people than. I hate traveling, and when I go to cons, I'm lugging tons of crap, and it's just a pain in the butt. I love meeting fans up front. You know, I'm building real relationships with daily interaction with fans on my YouTube channel. So if you want to meet me, just jump on YouTube. You don't have to pay $100 and whatever it is to get to a convention and stay in a hotel and all that fun stuff. Garrett, get Dean Cain on my show.
Like I can't do that. I don't have that kind of pull. I just go, hey,
snap
Dean.
your fingers, man.
What's up, Dean? then he just does this. He's like, I'm too important.
Lois and Clark's one of my favorite shows, man. Fucking love that show.
Yeah, I went to the set back when I was working on Superman. They had a Lois and Clark party, so I went to the set back then, and I got to meet what's his name, Shaw, the guy who played Lex Luthor, and some of the other cast members at the Daily Bugle. It was cool. I met Frank Miller there. Kind of creepy.
No, is he?
Yeah, he was just like staring at my wife. Well, you've seen my wife, right? And he's just like staring at her. I'm standing right next to him, and he's like leering at my wife. I'm like, hi, Frank.
Damn toxic masculinity.
So there's Lone Star and Monster Hunt. You can go check it out. I linked it in the description. And you know, Mike's worked on Game of Thrones. Thanks for the page again, man. And I love those books so much. All right, we'll get to some super chats here. But yeah, with the Zoe Quinn thing, before I get in that, it just bothered me that much to where, because I usually do not, and this is not judging people who do videos on that. I don't judge other YouTubers, but I don't usually make videos about people. But it was more about the comic book industry and okay, great. Wow, you flipped off EVS and Zach and Mike S. Miller and Comics Division, and I doubt any of you guys did anything other than roll your eyes when you heard that. You're on your own thing right now, and they're still not recognizing that, you know what, these guys did go off and do their own thing. They're being very successful at it. You know, and listen, I know about Comicsgate. It's had its trials and tribulations, but it certainly did something that the industry needed. It needed to figure out something else other than Marvel and DC, which sucks, because I was very much in the camp of I wanted Marvel and DC to be better, but there's a point where you had to realize that's not going to happen. Yeah. And
well, it may happen when it gets to the point where, as you're saying before, they're just licensing it out.
Yeah.
Freaking license Batman to me. I will make a good Batman.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That would
don't license
be.
It's IDW for God's.
Yeah.
I can't understand how IDW is still around. I just, it makes no sense. Talk about a write-off.
Interesting point of fact, though, is that the reason IDW exists is this happening here, where AT&T comes in and they get rid of redundancies. The guys that formed IDW, they were the licensing department at Wildstorm. So when DC moved in, they're like, we already have a marketing department. And so those guys all just got to get, I mean, they were all sharing one office, Chris and all those guys. And they just picked up, moved over to, I think, Pacific Beach, started Idea and Design Works, started taking it that Wildstorm was no longer doing. And then eventually they're like, hey, you know what? Let's do a comic book. And they did 30 Days a Night, and that was it. They just went comics after that.
Interesting. I know. I love Pacific Beach. Good part of town. Okay, let's. Oh God, I got in a lot of trouble down in Pacific Beach. Let me tell you, those wankers had a perfect opportunity to recast for John Connor with Norman Reedus, but no, cancel Hollywood. Haha. That's my good friend from Wisconsin, North American Ham Ram. And let's see, I got to look at my camera real quick. If I move this, you can see his painting right there, right under the TARDIS. Awesome. Nerdrotic logo. Thanks, man. And thank you very much for the $5. The Price is Right review for $10. Another awesome stream with an awesome panel. How can this be any better? Well, I don't know. Well, you know what? Honestly, StreamYard, you're doing a great job. 8 people. Can you bump it up a little bit? Sidious has a Horcrux and Ray commits identity theft, taking Paluk's name. Why? Just why? That's great. That's great. Silhouetted
I honestly thought about taking that whole. Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go on.
I said I honestly thought about taking the leaks and actually rewriting it into a good story, and just.
I think the leaks
can be done.
I
think it can be done.
Do it like
out of the leaks. I don't know.
The leaks are bad, but I think they're going to be better than anything we get on the screen. To be honest with you,
I honestly can't wait. It's going to be it's going to be a great watch.
The Phantom Menace is going to be fantastic.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, for sure. I just really want it to be that Harry Potter ending that some of the leaks talk about. I want Force Ghost, Luke, and Leia to take it on Palpatine with Rey.
I want him to time travel. That's what
I've been a good boy all year. I want A Force and I want Horcrux Star Wars.
Yes. That's the thing that's so funny about all this stuff is that it's going to be so beautiful to watch the dumpster fire burn.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, at this point, it's like we all know Star Wars is crap at this point. It's like I'm just going to show up with my popcorn and just cackle the entire time because the series has just been ruined.
And if Mandalorian is bad, I mean, it looks okay, but if it is bad, that's just going to be
that's it. If it's bad, it's done. Like there's just no coming back.
Yeah.
I have hopes for Mandalorian.
I do too.
So do I.
Yeah.
Let's. I was in the gym trying to keep track of all the things that. Okay, so Mandalorian quite possibly could be an allegory for immigration. Terminator Dark Fate is going to be an allegory for immigration. Picard is going to be an allegory for immigration. There is a possibility Rise of Skywalker will have some allegory of immigration. Everything genre will have immigration. And I know that in the gym, I picked like 7-8 things that we're going to have allegories for immigration. They're all on the same topics. I know that immigration's hot right now, but it was also hot a couple of years ago. Y'all remember. And that's when they were making all this stuff.
They're writing all this, yeah.
Yeah, and that's I hope more people when they come to YouTube, and because a lot of normies, you're busy, you're working, you don't have time to analyze this BS. You'll start seeing how unoriginal they really are. And if they really do that to The Mandalorian, which again, I'm with you guys, I hope it's good. I hope everything's good. I want everything to be good. Please something.
Please something, yeah.
I think it'll be like
I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see General Hux building a giant wall across space.
Yes, it's gonna be a big, beautiful well.
Be the best wall you've ever seen.
It's gonna be the best wall.
Best ever.
I don't say that. Other people say that. It's not me.
Wall in space.
Oh my God, best $40 I've ever fucking spent. Oh my God. Ever heard of a film called When Women Ruled the World? Careful researching it on the stream. The original poster had a Kathy Griffith Orange Man head visual. I will be careful researching it. Thank you, Silhouetted Animator, for $5. Pete, for $10. You guys are awesome. Have some money about it. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for the super chats. They keep the lights on. They keep me making content and doing this. The work is insane and I love it, but I have been in this office for 7 hours straight.
Well, it's like a job.
It's hot. Yeah, it's like a job, but I like it. Thank you, guys. Riff Magos for Australian $5. Disney is like the Borg, no originality and leeching existing successful franchises. Exactly.
Yeah. Resistance is futile.
It is.
Right.
David Kenny, $4.99. RIP Free Folk. The subreddit mods have been infiltrated by kneelers who tried banning swearing. It's civil war. Reddit admins are stepping in. What the hell? David Kenny, you are not. No. I'm going there right now. That is my favorite fucking Reddit right now. People, don't let this happen. What the hell? What the heck is going on? Disclosure. This is my personal understanding of a very recent breaking event, but I feel some of you guys may have noticed we went private again. The top mod removed everyone and went private without telling anyone. They've been under a lot of stress, harassed, and doxxed, but that doesn't justify shutting the sub down and removing everyone. Dude, they got rid of the free folk.
Did you see? Look, go ahead and look at the post right below it. It shows you the new mod structure. So those mods are like, as far as how long they've been there, 4 years, 2 years, and then everything is 21, 20, 20, 19 minutes ago. So there's only 2 original mods on there now, and all the rest have been added on.
And it was, who's behind this? What the hell's going on? Oh, dude. I wonder if this is a little retaliation. I mean, I'm just finding out about this. So my suspicious mind says, okay, here's their original mission statement that I believe in. And this is a site I have been going to for years. We do not kneel. Sub for non-kneelers. Free folk neither encourages nor discourages piracy. We only take action to enforce Reddit's site-wide rules. We believe people are mature enough to decide for themselves what content to view. Not a spoiler-safe zone. Never will be. I joined them years ago. I've been a very quiet member, but that sucks. Free folk, if you need any help, if there's anything I can do, please contact me, Gary@nerdrotic.com. And anything. I mean, I know dick about Reddit, but like if there's anything I can do to help you guys and gals, let me know. I love this site. It gave me so much joy over so much time. That sucks. We need to save the free folk, people.
Well, I've never been a Reddit user, but I remember ever since the controversy that happened several years ago, there's been a decline in Reddit.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
My son's actually been getting on Reddit yesterday or day before. He posted a Minecraft GIF. It's a GIF of walking down a flight of stairs and then turning a corner and then walking down the flight of stairs. And he's got people in the text being like, I watched this for 20 minutes and no. That's great. So he's got like hundreds and hundreds of comments, and people were like, "It took me 6 minutes to figure out this wasn't going anywhere."
That's great. I love it. Kick J and High Rags says Andrew Clark. That's for Mahler. Mahler, if you're out there, we love you, Mahler, for $2. Time traveling registered trademark for Australian $5. Shakespeare can be done woke or trad or anything else because plays are strong enough. Scripts, movies, in most cases, movies are most not enough. No, see, woke is, to me, woke is superficial politics done very, very poorly and only done to be done, not done to tell a story or push a narrative.
Yeah, done for social credit.
Yep.
Yeah. Virtue signaling.
Virtue signaling. I can listen to both sides of an argument if it is if it's a good argument. You know, I'm open-minded person, but not what we're getting now.
That was one of the things that happened recently in the Fandom Menaces. That whole opening scene and it having the two the gay couple, and then they get beat up. That whole situation. Some people were saying it was woke. Other people were, which I agree with, which it was not woke because it's in the novel, and it's to illustrate what it does to the town of Derry. So it's definitely part of the story. It's not just there to say, "Oh, look, we have gay people in our movie." It's part of the story.
Well, the funny thing is, you had SJWs complaining
outrage.
about it.
Could you imagine the outrage if they had replaced that with the straight couple?
Yeah, then you would have people say, "Oh,
gosh, you straight washed us."
You had people issuing trigger warnings about it. It's just like,
oh my god, the post.
You want representation until you're represented.
Yeah,
it's never good enough.
Well, it's like you want equality until you get it.
The Alphabet organization, and this is not gay people. This is the Alphabet political organization, does not want normalization.
No,
because normalization means you're normal, everything's fine. We're not. There's no protected class anymore.
Then you're not special. Then you're not special. You're not different. Yeah.
They want the victimization,
and everyone's already special in their own special way.
I mean, that beginning wasn't word for word. I mean, page for page what happened in the book, but that's basically the spirit of that scene. It has nothing to do with being woke. And if we are fighting for anything, it is being true to original canon.
Yeah.
That's right. You know,
which is funny because that's going back to the whole normalization thing. Crap, I can't remember the name of the book. It came out a couple of years, but they had this violence against a trans woman or something like that, and all the SJWs were freaking about the book.
But in the Expanse, you're going to hear this with the Expanse. All right, Doomcock and I have gotten a lot of people into that show. And people are just going to discover it on Amazon, not just because of us. And there's going to be some going, it's woke. And I promise you, the books go that way, but the way the show has been, it's part of the narrative. It is a giant what if. It is what if the UN took over the planet, and it really shows both sides. It shows the ugliness of it, and it actually doesn't show a ton of positive. It's actually pretty bad. Half the planet is on a thing called basic, where you just have enough money to watch TV and eat. That's it.
Yang game.
Yeah, and
universal basic income.
Yeah, that would be $1,000 a month or whatever.
That's what they're trying to do now,
and it shows what a complete and it's so bad. People want to leave Earth and go on to Mars, which doesn't have an atmosphere, and help terraform it to be a part of a project they're never going to see finished because they don't want to be on Earth anymore. So it's.
I can relate.
What is that on?
Yeah,
it's on Amazon.
What's that on? I haven't seen it. Prime.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
It's
have you seen a new one with Orlando Bloom?
Carnival Row. Carnival Row. Mr. Erotic likes it now.
That has an immigration allegory.
It's an allegory for immigration.
Yeah. Yeah. But more I was watching, I was like, these plays are supposed to be
funny how all that works.
I will say for Carnival
Row,
but
it's
I definitely saw that. It's definitely more old school immigration though. Like it reminds me a lot of like old school, like Europeans coming to America and everything. So
we don't want the Irish.
Yeah, I must say, as someone with Irish heritage, I was like, "Oh, it's my people coming."
It's just my people.
Yeah, isn't it? All the Fae have like Irish accents, don't they?
Yeah, it's like Irish cottage. Yeah.
That's an example. Like it's okay to have an allegory on something, but whenever you're like in Terminator, we know it's specifically this immigration.
Yes.
That's the allegory is this immigration because he has a border patrol. It looks like it takes place at a border patrol.
No, it does.
Place.
It does.
So like you're not even trying to go like, oh, this is my story, kind of
No,
get
and
your own
both-
things out of it. It's wokeness is being this is exactly what's going on in our world. This is how the take is. Agree with it. That's what wokeness is.
And sorry to jump interrupt you there, Quarter Black. Apologies, but within that movie, within the trailer, it shows both Terminators killing the shit out of Border Patrol agents, and that is Hollywood sending their very not subtle message. And they're
I
all
don't remember
white.
both of them, but I do remember it was the Terminator that was doing it.
Yeah. And also,
Did they
too,
knock down any walls?
Also, I think that
That's the finale.
Yeah, we can
At the
clarify too. I think that when we talk about Carnival Row, that's about immigration. This one's based on illegal immigration. I think that we can clarify that point.
Current year immigration.
Yeah, the Protector Terminator, I don't know if she killed that guy, but she definitely knocked his head against a metal thing. So I'm guessing he might have survived. But yeah, they're both
That's right.
maybe
That's
some
right.
brain
We're
damage.
supposed to
on it,
the
it'll be
crap
fine.
out of them. And that's all that is. It's directing their anger for it. You know, it's and Terminator is robots chasing people, and it's supposed to be scary, and it hasn't been scary in a long time, and it's not going to be scary.
Yes,
with this cast.
Well,
Sorry,
it hasn't been scary since the first movie.
The first one was a horror movie, a science fiction horror movie. I love.
Second one was an action.
The first one. I wasn't even the biggest fan of the second one. Yeah, it was a different genre. It was like Alien and then Aliens.
Yes, Alien being science fiction horror, and then Aliens being again sci-fi action.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Time Traveler registered trademark for Australian $5. Thank you again for the super chat. Sam Whiskey for $4.99. Star Trek ship The Discovery is a copy of the Invader ship from the 1962 TV show Fireball XL5 episode 34, The Firefighters. Damn, that is good. I'll vet that, Sam Whiskey, but I am currently working on something that is potentially very embarrassing for somebody who's working on Star Trek Discovery, and you can guess his name. His name it rhymes with Smalix, Blurtzman.
Very subtle, Gary.
Very subtle.
Maticus Finch for $18.20, $5. They're going to bring back Furlong just to kill Connor in the beginning, so we can focus. This is speculation, by the way.
Yes.
So we can get focus on Juanita Connor. What a kick! What a kick in the nuts, literally. Maticus, literally. Modalicious for $2. Nobody I know cares about Star Wars or Herminator. I was watching a discussion about how popular Star Wars is. I think what gets lost in a lot of arguments is people want to look at it really black and white, like, well, Disney's still making money on it. Bottom line. Okay, great. But you're making money now. We're talking about 3 years from now, 4 years from now.
30 years from now.
Right.
You think these are going to carry over?
Well, that's a very good point. I mean, even though we hadn't had a Star Wars movie in a long time, Lucas made a lot of money off the merchandising.
Oh God, he could have never made one. If Disney hadn't bought Star Wars, he'd have been fine. If he didn't produce a new thing ever again, he'd have been fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
It would have been fine because Dark Horse would have still put out Star Wars books.
Yeah, they would have still put out toys. I mean, just till the end of time. CBS was making money off the original series forever when they weren't doing anything.
They murdered the fucking cash cow.
Yeah. I mean, Doctor Who did pretty damn well in the dark times. It learned how to do audio adventures, and they still were making money off and reruns and stuff. You don't need to make it new, especially when it's garbage. The Grand Inquisitor for $5. Hail Gary, what's the difference between a chickpea and a cabbage? I have no idea. I've never paid to have a cabbage on my face. Oh, all hail the Phantom Menace. Okay. Grand Inquisitor, well played. Riff Magus, Australian $5. The problem is
that had layers. There's layers to that joke. It was beautiful.
Grand Inquisitor, you have my eternal respect. Riff Magos for Australian $5. The problem is there's no longer a focus on mythology and literature. It's all ism now. Creative bankruptcy. our good friend, hey, Steven, Drunk 3PO, gave us a super chat for $1.99, showing some love to this great panel. We love Drunk 3PO, and we will have him back on.
Hail Drunk 3PO.
And his eyebrows.
Guy, and his eyebrows. P and Pat. A $5 retracted message, probably because it says half black mic, right? Or half Jap mic. But yeah, no, that's fine. Andrew Clark for $2. I'm just kidding. What will they say when Tubman movie defeats? Okay, I don't know. Andrew Clark. Terminator. Oh, okay. What are they going to say when the Tubman movie defeats Terminator Dark Fate? Ooh, that's that's a good point.
That. Yes. You should do a crossover movie. There's time travel.
Dude.
Right? Harriet Tubman v. the Terminator. I want to see that.
I know what I'm seeing on all, but I still get back to this point that I love that it's called coming out on All Saints Day. I just think it's great. I just think it's wonderful.
Chris D'Ella recently bashed Bond fans. Thoughts? Big fat man for $2. Let me find out who this person is.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that either.
Hey Gary, I super appreciate you having me on. Even bumping the great caller who I want to hang out with. But go on. I got to back out. I just want to let people know I'm doing the auctions on my channel tonight. So if you're interested in original comic book art, when these guys are done here, or if you just want to open another window and look at the art, blacklistuniverse.com.
Yeah, check it out. And again, I will link in the description, Lone Star Comic, and later on I'll link your kiddo's game. Okay. And
thank you, my brother.
Thanks for coming. Oh, of course, man. And we'll get you back on. We'll get you back on again. We'll get you in the rotation here.
You're gonna remember this time, right?
No, I'm gonna say every time that you invited yourself. And when you'll eventually
Gary,
catch on.
Steven, Comics, Garrett. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Hey, it's nice meeting you, Mike.
Later, Mike.
You too.
Later, Mike. And then we can Mahler's still there.
Yeah, I finally remember the name of that stupid comic book. It was United States of Hysteria.
The United States of Hysteria.
Yeah, do you remember that book at all?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the one with all the controversy because there was a trans woman gets her ass kicked or something like that.
And that was by Howard Chaykin.
Yes, Chaykin. Thank you. I was trying to remember the
crazy
the
motherfucker.
writer. Yeah.
Mahler, welcome back.
That's nice. It's wonderful to be back. I saw that you guys mentioned Carnival Row. You haven't seen that yet, Gary? Have you not, or have you?
I've seen the first episode, and I kind of liked it.
I just binged through it in 2 days, and I was like, it's all right. I think it had a lot more potential than they ended up doing with it. Like, I was a little bit disappointed that I was a bit hyperbolic with a friend of mine, but I felt like I said that they had 5 seasons of content in one. The last episode is reveal, change. The world gets drastically changed in 5 minutes in the end of season 1. And it's the kind of stuff that you'd expect to come at the end of season 3. You'd be like, oh, everything's blah, blah, blah. And yeah, and I just think they've crushed it all in hopes that people watch it and go, wow, so much is happening in the show. It looks so good, so amazing. And I just think they kind of, to give you an example, right? When we start the show, you can tell that the 2 main characters, the protagonists, the Fae and the Bergishman, they've both got histories that are a bit mysterious and sordid. You're like, oh, who knows how they connect, what happened? You get all of it within 3 episodes. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, that was, that's fine. And then by the end of the season,
with the binge model, though.
Yeah, so I was thinking, is that they're trying to mitigate the binge model?
Just take your time. It's all right. I'm gonna watch it. Take your time.
One of my biggest complaints about the Marvel stuff is that they basically drawn out 5 to 6 episodes into 13. I mean, there's a lot of stuff where it's just you guys can cut this crap out.
Oh yeah, there's a balance. For example, mentioning Buffy earlier, there's a lot of Buffy episodes that are filler. You can tell that they were just we need to do something. There's this weird demon that focuses on the ability to do something stupid, and you have to beat it by doing something stupider. And you're like, yeah, okay. It didn't progress anything. You're just like, oh, well, that was that.
Yeah.
And so, so it's always nice to have a more of a progression. But the end of episode 1, this is not a spoiler. In fact, this should be a hook. But there's a creature that looks like a Cthulhu monster that kills someone at the end of it. And it's like, whoa, what is that? What's going on there?
That sounds cool.
By the end of season 1, you find out absolutely everything. And you're like, oh, okay. Again, it's not. I think a lot of people would enjoy it, but I was just like, oh man, I could have been left not knowing what that was until like the end of season 3. Like I said, you could have stretched that out.
Yeah, it ends, and then you're left with, okay, so why do I want to keep watching? Like, there's no,
yeah,
there's no
kind
hook to bring you back. There really is no hook to bring you back. Like, it kind of ends. You're like, okay, the story can continue, but I have no, like, had they ended it with some of the, like, because there were some episodes that ended, you're like, oh, that was a really cool reveal. That would have been so much better than the season finale, which was like, okay, we can continue, but why should I watch?
I feel like they took some inspiration from Game of Thrones as well. A lot of people are sisters, mothers, daughters, sons, and stuff, and a lot of
roommates, yes.
Yeah, that's kind of a trend you don't want to follow that much. We've got some super chats to read. Then we're going to get to Steven, and then we're going to get to that Game of Thrones article. Does that sound good to everybody? God, I hope so, because that's what we're doing.
That sounds terrible.
Unhinged Crank for $2. Mahler, fantastic video on Game of Thrones 0805.
Why, thank you. It took 3 months.
Better be goddamn good. Amarath 84 for 50 Norwegian crowns. They know we loved Sarah Connor as a strong female hero. Next is Ellen Ripley. I'm calling it. You're not wrong there.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Blomkin, no, his RoboCop got, that guy can't cut a break. Unhinged Crank $2 Commando remake with a Alyssa Milano as a retired SEAL. Yeah.
Only if she brings 2 men to help mansplain everything.
Yes. God, I can't wait for her debate with what's his name.
It already happened, and she brought 2 men to help mansplain.
Yeah, she did. She did.
What? Okay.
Yeah. No. What happened? What is this?
She debated. Why am I blanking on his name?
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz. And she had to bring 2 dudes with her.
Yeah.
Well, that's not fair.
Oh, that is fucking hilarious.
But don't worry, because the whole time all she said was, "I feel."
Yes.
But I feel. But I feel. No facts, no figures. Just I feel.
He must have just destroyed her. Come on, Ted Cruz.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Jesus.
I don't know why she even thought she could handle. Like, he's a politician. That's what he does. You're Alyssa Milano. Like, no.
He clerked for the Supreme Court. I mean, come on.
Like his job to do this.
Privileged white Hollywood millionaire versus professional bullshitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically. That's a good way of putting it.
And nobody thought to. No, never mind. Laura Rianne stole my fan fiction story for $2. I saw, but don't remember any Terminator after 2. I'm right there with you, Laura. I forgot.
I remember a lot of comic books, and that's about it.
Yeah. Terminator 2 or Sarah Connor Chronicles. It ends with a cliffhanger. It's fucked up, but it's still worth watching. And Lena Headey is a great Sarah Connor.
And Summer Glau is just an amazing person in general.
Yes. And then it also has what's her name? Shirley Manson from Garbage in it too.
That's right. She plays the Terminator.
And she does a damn good job. Joe Packer for $5. Any of you going to Star Trek the Motion Picture 40th anniversary at theaters this weekend? Yeah, probably me.
I saw the poster. I think I might have to go do it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do it.
Trek is near and dear to my heart.
Yep. But it's going to be a lot of staring at a cloud going down.
Yep.
Barry, I finally saw it, and you're totally right. It was
That's all it is.
A Space Odyssey.
Did you basically take a nap, during that movie? Wake up at the end.
I was just staring, I'm just like, oh my God, they're not hiding it at all. And then he was still getting to the ship, and then 10 hours later, he was still traveling to the Enterprise.
Yes.
And then finally he got there. But
the thing is, like, the first, quarter of the movie is amazing. Like, it's everybody coming back, and like it's God, and then it just went. But I love it. One of the
I remember watching that when I was younger, going, I don't remember Trek being this boring.
Yeah.
Douglas.
So what are they looking at? Must be very, very important.
Douglas Trumbull took over that movie. He must have. He's like, oh, I'll do all the effects. Let me do it. He's great. Blade Runner.
It looked great.
Yeah. Close Encounters. Unhinged Crank, you guys, the future was lost because John and his plans were male oriented. Now, with a new women's perspective, the battle will be different. Yeah, because women are involved, the robots and everybody will just get along now. Because
They're going to play Miss Monopoly.
Yeah.
Apologies to Mahler, but there is a certain feminist sect in Europe that believes that if the women took over, there would be no more war. There's people who actually believe that.
Sure.
They've never met high school girls, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
Spend 5 minutes in a salon. Come on.
I don't understand.
I
what
remember
do you do with that?
when women get into fights, they are far more brutal than men.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Maybe not a
All the
physical,
more reason,
but a hell of a lot
why
more psychological.
women should
that's
be on
for
the front
sure.
lines.
Yeah.
Modalicious says for $5, Hail, Quarter Black. Did Biden have a stroke live on television? Every jackal on stage ignored the man's health. My grandmother had a stroke, looked just like that.
Well, you see, you can't tell. He's always got one eye, kind of squinched, so you can't really tell when he's having a stroke.
Yeah.
He's always got that kind of pouty, angry look on his face too.
He referred to Sanders as Mr. President during that debate.
Really? Did he?
I was watching it with a friend and we burst out laughing. It was so
my
funny.
God,
He
that's
lost his
hilarious.
dentures at one point.
He did?
He was
Yes,
talking
he did.
and his teeth just like
Bernie Sanders?
Yes.
That's great.
it was Joe Biden. Joe Biden's
Oh, it
dentures.
was Biden. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Biden and his gaffes, they're just so good. It's just they don't stop. Bloody eye.
The hair smelling is brilliant.
Hair smelling.
It's great.
the holding onto the woman's hands, like
Just
and just
too long.
like, getting a,
Way too long. Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody at home is wondering what we're talking about, Quarter Black Garrett is part of another YouTube channel. It's kind of a big deal, and they were covering the debate last night. So, Steven Crowder show. Might have heard. He's got
got super drunk.
That's I saw that.
Everyone does.
Who are you dressed as?
I was Vladimir Lenin.
Okay. I should have thought
Yeah.
automatically.
Yeah, I don't.
I was watching for a little while. I was like, who the fuck is he?
What's going on? You come in late and you don't get in all of her names.
So did you all of you dress up as communist?
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We had Vladimir Lenin. We had Cesar Chavez, Che. I mean, I think Mao was there. All of them.
Did
pulled all the
Crowder have his figs?
No, we can't do that. Can't pull out figs, man. We get banned. That's the wrong thing. That's wrong.
There's some kind of mystery gift you can get though with maybe I don't know.
Has nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with it though.
Nothing at all.
At all.
It is. It's on there.
But it's not. But maybe.
Yeah.
Instead of the building several Death Stars, why didn't the Empire First Order invest in cheaper kamikaze starships and crash them into crap? Dumb. Cracklin, yeah. I mean, like, why don't they just not have anybody flying any ships? And they can just all hyperspace into each other now.
Yeah.
Just put droids in all of the ships and hyperspace right into other ships.
One Star Destroyer could kill a planet. Can you imagine the impact that would cause?
Yeah. So that happens in The Expanse a lot. They take these tungsten they're like bullets. They're giant bullets, and they basically slingshot them down to planets like meteors, and it's a massive weapon that can cause a lot of destruction. You could just do that. You can speed. The Expanse has actually taught me a lot about like motion and stuff I didn't care about because they actually care, and it's a very good show. People should check it out.
Yeah, that was actually in a few cyberpunk books where they were basically large blocks of nickel done on planets.
Yep.
Basically doing like mass drivers. I got to bail, guys, because the wife has come in and is giving me the look, and it's time for me to go return playing Borderlands 3. So,
good luck.
Bye, Comics Division. Thanks for coming in.
Bye, Sarah.
Hey, I gave you a warning on that one already.
I know. I got you. All right, I'll catch you next Friday.
All right, man. I'll see you later.
Late.
Nice meeting you, Comics.
All right. Well, thank God he's gone. No, I'm just kidding.
Another party can start.
Now the party can start. The official Dougie J for $4.99. This is This is my oldest friend. We were like little kids together watching Star Trek and collecting Star Wars figures and nerding out. He went to Blade Runner with me when it was in theaters for the first time. My mom took us in because it was a rated R movie, and we were both 12. We saw Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan together. We saw Superman 2 together, Raiders of the Lost Ark together. Yeah,
Nice.
this is my nerd right here for $4.99. Did you hear that the premiere episode of The Expanse season 4 is being screened at New York Comic Con? Are you going? Yes, I did. Mrs. Nerdrotic passed that on to me, and I am a trusted member of the press. Apparently, by the way, guys, I've been invited to like multiple press screenings.
That's great.
I don't know, but
You're a shill.
I'm a total shill. You know what I got invited?
Yeah, it's only a matter of time, Gary.
Totally selling out. And you know who invited me to a one-on-one question one-on-one? Samantha B. Samantha B. at New York Comic Con.
Do it.
Do you think I
Do
should
it.
go?
Oh, do it.
I want to see
Yes,
it. Do it.
Do it. I'll RSVP certainly.
Do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
She'll figure out how I am, but yeah, this is great. Yes, I'm going to try to go, Doug. I'm going to definitely try to go. The only thing I'm going to New York Comic Con, I'm just like totally stressing out about the flight. I haven't even thought about the show because I hate flying so much. So it's usually I stress out about the flight. I get there, things are fine, hopefully. And then I start thinking about the show and what I'm going to do. Tom King for $2. Hail to the panel, everyone in the Fandom Menace. Hail.
Hail.
Jeremiah, $2. Mike, get new internet. Well, he's gone. So. But he really needs to get new internet. Yeah. He's in San Diego. Whale's vagina.
Yes.
Yeah. Whale's vagina. Okay, so we're done with that. Let's I want to talk a little bit while we've got time. We have an author here with us, Stephen Walton. Stephen, why don't you tell us a little bit about like what led you up to your project and what your project is, like the pitch, you know?
All right. Well, first I have to keep a couple promises.
Sure.
My friend Mike made me promise to say, Gary, the only reason I'm getting close to you is because I want to be on Exozone. And I also wanted to say, I've been saying this for a year in every chat that I've been with Odin, and now I get to say it on a panel to him. I might be gay for Odin's beard.
Well, thank you, kind sir.
So the Fandom Menace project, initially this project started out as something I was pitching to Jeremy Griggs. I wanted to do a company profile of his company, geeksandgamers.com, because I really enjoyed his the way that he hired people on merit versus, you know, what they are. He doesn't tokenize people. I wanted to talk about that because, you know, he really impressed me as a personality as I got to know him. Then Star Wars Celebration happened. We kind of lost contact. And in the meantime, I'd already written about 40,000 words and done a lot of research. And a lot of it had to do with the Fandom Menace. So I began I just began working on a side project, which became the Fandom Menace project. And so where I'm at with that is I have started off I start off a little bit touching on Battlestar, touching on Gamergate, touching on leading up to Ghostbusters 2016. I try to stay away from politics. It's kind of hard to, considering that socio-political influence has a lot to do with the reason the Fandom Menace exists, but I try and stay away from it as much as I can. And then into The Last Jedi, and then the fan backlash, why the backlash happened, the voices that grew out of that resonance that began to speak for the fandoms, for the people. Because we really didn't have anybody. We were being attacked by the media. We were being attacked by production companies. We were being labeled and told that we were misogynist and sexist and racist because we didn't like a bad written movie that had no real structure and didn't have any honor or dedication to the lore and legacy and the fandom that it was written for. So I began to just start writing my feelings on that, and I had a lot of different resources at my disposal, and a lot of them were YouTubers and the people, the voices that stood up for us. So I reached out to people like Odin's Movie Blog and asked him if I could highlight him in a chapter, and various other personalities, and that led to just the construction of the volumes themselves. What I'm doing with this work is I want to create something that readers in the future, when they're trying to figure out what happened in Hollywood, what happened, you know, why did these events go the way that they did? Why were these movies so bad? Why is there such a controversy surrounding them? You know, when they look at all these different garbage tier and access media news sites that are putting out article after article about how toxic the fans are and how awful the fans are. And I wanted to show for posterity what exactly happened. Who were the voices in the movement that became the Fandom Menace? And highlight those so that there was a truth out there. There was a representation of this part of the fandom, of the various fandoms. And I don't just stay within Star Wars. I go into Star Trek. I go into Doctor Who. And I am not a Whovian myself, but I understand just from watching YouTubers who are Whovians that this same thing is going on, and that's why I reached out to Gary Buechler, and that's why he's going to be writing a chapter on Doctor Who for the Fandom Menace volumes. So I've also reached out to people who are who like the new Doctor Who like the new Star Wars and Star Trek, and they're going to be able to represent their feelings from their perspective on the matter, because the Fandom Menace, if anything, is about the ability to have an opinion without being persecuted for that opinion. So I believe an equal representation needs to be presented. We need to stand up for our values, and that is one of our values. Also, Ichi Baka is coming out with another book, Disney Star Wars is Dumb. And when he first pitched this idea, some of my friends had come to me and said, is this going to hurt you? Is this, is this guy, working against you? Is this going to hurt your book? No. The answer to that is no. This is exactly what I wanted. The Fandom Menace YouTubers, the people that brought this loose confederation of various independent voices together, they support one another. And that is reflective of Comicsgate. I think Comicsgate has a lot to do with the DNA of the Fandom Menace. They support one another. They're kind of fighting the same war on their front. And that support structure moved over into the Fandom Menace, and now we've got YouTubers helping each other out. And what I want to do is extend that, just like the artists are doing in Comicsgate, just like the creators are doing on YouTube. I want to extend that out into a literary sphere. So Ichi Baka producing content, another great book that we're all going to be able to read. It's going to be out there for posterity, for people to understand exactly what is going on from his perspective. That's a beautiful thing. I love that. I embrace that. Please support Ichi Baka. Go to his Indiegogo. Get that book. I'm going to be getting that book, and I'm going to be supporting him. And I really think that every other creator out there, no matter what your talent is, if it's art, if it's writing, if it's doing film, like the Rookie Critic, there's another person. There's so many talented people that are connected in the Fandom Menace or orbiting the Fandom Menace. If you have a love, if you have a talent, if you have a passion, do it. Especially all you writers out there, from my perspective. Come out and do it, because my dream is to have a Fandom Menace literary circle of writers and authors who support one another, who prop each other up, who help to promote their works, because we're getting to the point where these companies are not learning the lessons that pandering to SJWs and identity politics does not sell to the general audiences. It does not sell to the people who are dedicated and love these lores. So we're going to have to do it our damn selves. And this is why Comicsgate exists, because they're creating good comics for the fans. It is a consumer movement. So we're going to have to do the same thing. After I release the Fandom Menace volumes, I will be re-releasing my my Elemental saga, which is my science fiction fantasy saga, and I'm going to be working with that. Hopefully, finding an artist to make graphic novels out of my novels. And if anybody's interested in hearing that idea, please hit me up at Lodonis on Twitter. But this whole thing is growing. The Fandom Menace is growing, and it's going to continue to grow because people are just getting tired of hearing rhetoric when we should be getting entertained. We're tired of being preached to when we should be going to these to Star Trek or Star Wars or any other kind of media, and being entertained, not being preached to. We don't want to be conditioned. We deal with that enough in the outside world with politics and schooling. We deal with that enough there. Escapism is meant to unify people. It is meant to bring us together. Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, these things were meant to unify us, to bring us together so that we could have conversations about our modern mythologies, things that we love, to get away from the mundane, to get away from bullshit politics. And that is not happening anymore. The nuts are running the insane asylum. So I want my dream, as I continue these volumes, is to have a group of people, a group of writers that come together and that support one another and that produce our own content that maybe becomes something that the general audiences will become exposed to and that they will love. Same thing that Comicsgate's doing, same thing the YouTubers are doing. Nobody's going to those shill sites and access sites anymore. Not doing that. They're coming here and they're listening to these voices, these independent voices who who are preaching things from their own perspective. And we have many different perspectives in the Fandom Menace. One of the things that I had to talk with a young lady not too long ago. She said to me, I don't really like to talk to you about certain things because you might consider me an SJW, and this is because she's left leaning. She's into LGBT, gender fluidity, a lot of the millennial kind of talking points. And I said, do you demand that other people listen to you, and do you demand that they accept what you say? And she said, no. I said, you're not an SJW. We have so many different types of people in the Fandom Menace, and this is something I want to reflect in the book. I got Jesse Milestone writing a chapter on how it feels to be a Jewish woman being called a Nazi. She's a left-leaning person. She's a lefty. She don't even like the term SJW. I've got Mark with a C, who's also involved and highlighted in one of my chapters. I have a lot of different people, and I brought together a good, diverse, and I know I hate to use that word, but a good, diverse group of people that represent different parts of the Fandom Menace to show people when they read about this, when they read these volumes in the future, that we are not alt-right, misogynist, Trump supporting, racist. That is just a bullshit narrative. We are a group of people who just want decent entertainment, respect for our lore, and respect for our modern mythologies. That is what we want. You want to give us a woman character? You want to give us a black character? You want to give us a story about immigration? Make it a well-written story. That's all you have to do. So the Fandom Menace volumes, so far, real quick, I'll just finish it up. The GoFundMe that was running, I'm probably going to be taking it down next week. Thanks to the generous donations of the people who have given the GoFundMe so that I could get this thing started off, we have been able to get it started off. Any future donations that anyone may decide to give, if you can, great. That's going to go toward increasing the quality of the production. But as it stands right now, we're going to be able to start an Indiegogo campaign in October for Volume 1. And we will be releasing all 5 volumes, I think about every 3 months after that. We're steadily just going to be working over the next year. So please stay tuned. And if you have any questions or comments, come to my YouTube channel, Author Stephen Walton, or my Twitter handle is @Lodamus. Thank you.
Oh, dude, that was rocking. That was great. And sorry, I just, when I hear Trump supporter, there are Trump supporters in the Fandom Menace. There are ones that don't support Trump. But another thing that I think the Fandom Menace is about is not just, there's this false narrative out there. This one really pisses me off because, not to out my mom, but my mom's a Trump supporter. My sister's a Trump supporter. One of my sons is a Trump supporter. And you want me to turn on these people? No, I don't think so. So just that term, they try to make it sound like it's this bad thing. You just support the president, and honestly, I'm of this really stupid, naive, I was brought up, I guess, just by bad people who my dad always told me to support the president who's there because you want your country to do well no matter what, don't you? I mean, you do. I mean, that's what I want. So that's why when, there's a lot of presidents who got in that I didn't like, but I support them because I want my country to do well. We're getting in this weird place. And I'm really particularly pissed that they poisoned the well of nerddom, which was a place. I mean, we didn't always get along. Let's be real. We're always bickering, but it was, exactly. But it was always like, I like, TOS over TNG, that, and we just would love to get back to that, to get back to that. So I think it's brilliant that you're doing this project. That's why, I'm sorry I was late to the game. Listen, I was late to the party to the Fandom Menace, but I'm here now. And we got, and we're still growing. And listen, as long as we remain, I love that you're writing a book on it, but I'll say it again, because it needs to be said, as long as we remain very loose collection of like-minded folks who, for different reasons want better entertainment. Listen, Mahler, Mahler just wants better entertainment. He focuses completely on the entertainment and just dissects it with a freaking surgeon skill. I love that. And that's the stuff that we can continue to do. Hopefully we can just do that someday and just get into the content. That's why it was so nice honestly, Game of Thrones was a break from a lot of it because it was just a bad show.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was just bad. A lot of people are looking for like a motive behind it all, and it's like, turns out they just wanted out. and they rushed it, and it was really poorly written down to a mechanical level.
Absolutely, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So here's let me share this.
I was
real
going to
quick.
say, is there any chance I can throw a quick topic in?
Anytime, yeah. Good God, yes.
I'm being controversial on Twitter, and I'm curious what you guys think.
Okay.
Well,
So,
Mahler, do you know how to do a quick topic?
no, Gary's gonna have to help me.
I'll help with that one.
So, well, whatever. Just be completely honest. Not a fan of Chris Stuckman myself.
Okay.
He bores me. A lot of his takes are really simplistic, and I've always found that it's because he's been around for so long that people really like to listen to him. Seems like a nice guy. I'm sure he's a great guy, in fact. But in terms of film criticism, I've always felt like he's not even a fan of anything. He's just he's floating through, watching everything that ever comes out. And you know what? The best way to describe this in microcosm is he spent 4 minutes talking about The Haunting of Hill House. It's like a TV show that I found incredible. And I was like, 4 minutes? How do you even, I don't even know how I could do that. I could talk about the intro for 4 minutes, maybe. I could talk about one of the actors for 4 minutes. I don't know. Like, you'd have to get me really shut up to do it. Regardless, it's all fine. I never crossed paths with him, but he put out a tweet. Can I link a tweet to you, Gary? I want to see what you think of it first.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'll just link it in the chat thing there. Just read that out and tell me what you think.
Okay, I'm going to. What's it letting me? Why isn't it letting me do it?
Yeah,
Hang on.
for some reason the chat won't post hyperlinks, so you have to actually copy.
Yeah, that's weird.
Copy and paste.
Maybe that's something I need to fix. I'm sorry, but I'm going here right now. Okay. So is it your response or his tweet?
Well, if you want to read his first, tell me what you
Okay.
think, and then I can link you my response if you want.
So his tweet is, without the filmmaker, there is no film critic. The filmmaker takes all the risks, spending years of their life crafting something. The film critic spends 90 minutes in a theater and maybe a few hours in front of a computer. Even when we hate a film, it's good to remember that. Okay. And your response is down here. Sorry.
I could link that if you want, just because it's 4 tweets in one.
Oh, so he's got multiple.
Do you have any thoughts before you? Because I think my take might be controversial, but hey.
No, I like controversial takes. Film critics rely on filmmakers. Film critics rely on filmmakers to create. Filmmakers hope that the critics support and talk about their work. It's a symbiotic relationship that only improves when there's a respect level between the two, or between both. And he goes on again more. Hang on, there he is. Is there a fourth? You said there's more.
Oh no, I think that's all you need to read from Chris.
Yeah.
But again, I was just going to say, do you have any initial thoughts about that?
As far as there needing to be a respect between the two,
the implication obviously being, calm down, guys. These people work really hard.
I won't calm down. It sounds like a sensible thing up front, Mahler, but I consider my time valuable and my money valuable, and especially when you put yourself out there, you open yourself up to criticism.
Well, and the problem is, like, I just got done with 3 months of work on one video, and I've got a guy being like, you spent 90 minutes watching a movie, and then you spend 3 hours, or an hour and a half at a computer, and I'm like, Chris.
Maybe you do.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think he's judging the world based on his standards, which I
was going to say, if you want to,
all he can do. But honestly, that's not a. People put a lot of work. Critics like you put a ton of work in. I put a ton of work in. And
I put very little,
and it shows. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I don't. I think he sounds like he's trying to kiss some ass there, and I mean, that's his prerogative. But I don't falsely assume that people just put in 90. So you just go in for 90 minutes and you have a hot take. There are people who actually think about it. There are people who actually go to school for this, and critics are absolutely you can't have one without the other. So I agree with the symbiotic part of it.
Well, yeah, you often get the whole, like, you guys, do you think you could make something better than D&D? And when it comes to stuff like that, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
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 So.
Yeah.
I actually did in my head come up with a better end than they came up with in Game of Thrones season 8. And if I had their resources, I could have hired the right people to come up with what was in my head. Certainly. Would it have been great? I don't know, but it would have been more than one episode. That's all I'm saying.
I can imagine, Gary, like just my guess, you probably wouldn't have assassinated every single character. I'm going to guess that. That's just...
Yes, that would have been my first thing I would respect the characters I like. And not for, just to do it to shock people. But that showed their talent level. And once they were farther away from from George R. R. Martin, it became Dan and Dave's show. And there is you want to talk about a line of demarcation.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah, it was terrible. And this is something we're going to remember for a long time. Like forever. As a matter of fact, it's called like if your show fails, it's going to be called a Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, your show. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what inspires people to make tweets like that. I mean, like, I don't know.
I was going to say, so just do you want to read my thing is full.
Yes.
But if you want to just, because I'm not happy with the take. That's what.
No, I love that you're not happy with the take because it's not
Please
one of my
read
favorite.
the word of Mauler.
I will try to read it with respect. I will try. Hang on. Let's oh, I don't want to do that. I don't. Such a I love Mauler. Such a sad take when some filmmakers don't give a single shit about the content they inherit, while some film critics pour their heart and soul into what they cover. What's YMS? Sorry.
That's Your Movie Sucks.
Your Movie Sucks on The Walking Dead Season 2, H-Bomb on Sherlock, Plinkett on pretty much everything.
Like, there are more examples, obviously, but I'm talking, these are critics that, like, they did their work. They were like, let's find out exactly what's wrong with this thing.
Mm-hmm. The H-Bomb on Sherlock, Sherlock is
he destroyed that show. I enjoyed that video quite a lot.
No, that's Stephen Moffat is the J.J. Abrams of the UK. He absolutely is. Damn. No, I think that's a great take, and I don't think it's controversial at all.
Oh, well, I was going to say there's 3 more bits, but I assume that those bits
I'm going to
agree with.
I get that what you do is sit and watch a movie sometimes until you end up following the status quo.
So for context, he's got a review of Blade Runner, and he basically says he didn't get it, and then he just kept watching it until he felt he had shared the opinion that everyone else does, which is that it's a really good film. He was like, I didn't get it, I didn't really like it. He's like, after watching it for the 4th time, I think I like it now. And it's like, why did you only watched it until you liked it because of the reputation it has? This is what I mean. To me, he feels like a hollow critic. He's like, I'm a film critic. I've got to like Blade Runner. Of course you have to like Blade Runner. How can you not like Blade? You got to like Blade. So I got to keep watching it until I like it because something's wrong with me.
He's got the Clockwork Orange like things holding up his eyes. Like, I love this movie.
And that's the thing. I am okay with people. I think Jay from Red Letter Media actually is the controversial one, saying like he thinks Blade Runner is boring and he doesn't connect with it. He appreciates a lot what it achieves, but like I way prefer hearing someone say that than someone going, "I watched it until I liked it."
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay. And I'm sorry, the cynical me says he didn't watch it that much, and he just said he liked it, so he can sound cool. But I'm bad. No, Blade Runner certainly is a great example of a movie of its time too. I think if people watched it for the first time now, I think very few people would like it. I mean, that's just me, especially younger. And then chat for 10-15 minutes, but some creators are trying to criticize while entertaining and informing. Yes, they are creating art while engaging in criticism. Thank you for saying that. Critics may very well be poor filmmakers, but filmmakers may very well be poor critics, which is so true. You do not want to trust creatives on a lot of stuff. Many filmmakers may not exist if not for learning more from critics. A relationship may not need to exist. In fact, criticism may be blurred when a relationship is ongoing. Collider. Respect is earned. some content creators do not care to respect their audience, and critics may return that attitude in kind right back to them. Well said, my friend. Well said. So we are creating a form of art and entertainment, and I think that might stick. And you know, like I hear a lot. People, I'm sure you hear this a lot, Mahler. I hear that people just watch our reviews on stuff, and I know most of the people who are watching my Star Trek stuff were not watching Star Trek. They couldn't care less. And I'm sure it's the same for you. I'm sure most people didn't watch Predator, but they watched your video.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I think you guys, possibly everyone in relation to the Phantom Menace and myself, and you know, we're all being told they're not going to watch episode 9, but they will watch the crap out of everything we make because they're like, I trust you guys. I respect your opinion. I want to know what your take is on this stuff. Yeah. And because, you know, I the way I see it is that as much as we all know episode 9 is probably going to be dreadful, there's still stuff that we can point out to learn from it, how to avoid falling into this pitfall again, and how to condemn the creators for making a lot of the decisions they've made for other motivations, like trying to trick the audience into loving the nostalgia, or trying to go with an agenda that proves that you could have a woman protagonist, as if we didn't know this, as if this is brand new to us.
Right.
And focusing on that alone instead of actually building a character. There's so much we can talk about that will help. So there's going to be people in the audience listening right now who are going to be future directors and writers who will cite us as inspiration. Right. I hate the idea that critics are like parasites. Like, oh, we can't survive without someone making a movie. It's like, why even go there, man? Like, we're working our asses off sometimes to actually get a point of improvement in this industry. And you're like, ugh, you have to respect that they tried. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, do you want to go over all of the different creators in film history, what they've done? Just like you want to defend every single one, and then you want to simultaneously be like, hey, Plinkett, like I know you think you're all right, but you have to respect George Lucas. You know, he really tried with the prequels. He put a lot of effort. I know you think he ruined Star Wars. You know, you made all these arguments. It doesn't matter. I mean, again, it's the same for me, right? If you're like, hey, Rian Johnson worked really hard, I'm like, I'm sure he worked hard to a certain degree in certain areas. Doesn't mean I can't criticize him. And doesn't mean I can't work hard when I do it.
Isn't that what Daisy Ridley said? She was like, oh, I don't like it that all these people are so harsh in the film. Everybody worked really hard. Well, it's like, yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they worked really hard. But the end product is not good.
Well, do you remember the Simpsons episode where they build the house with love for Flanders? They work really hard to build him a house that falls apart immediately.
Like, yeah,
I wish I
appreciate it, but
I wish I had enough time to follow everybody around in Hollywood and see how they treat people and see if they appreciate how hard they work. Say, like the catering staff, the gaffer, the makeup artist, the person who was lighting a Christian Bale scene. I'm wondering how much they appreciate how fucking hard they work. Let me tell you, they are some of the worst fucking people to other people imaginable. So kiss my ass on working hard. And that's all we heard out of Game of Thrones season 8. We worked really hard. It was so hard. It was a night shoot, 55. Fucking shut up, you pussies. Fucking
Starbucks and Winterfell.
Underwater, exactly. Underwater welders down at the shipyards in San Diego, those fuckers work hard. They die often. They get paid a lot of money. That's partially why there is a gender pay gap, because not a lot of women are doing that. But they want women. They are dying for people to do that, literally. So don't talk about working hard. You get to pretend for a living, and you get paid an insane amount of money to do it. And you get these platforms because you're in this movie. All of a sudden, your Instagram has 1 million followers, and shut up. So critics are, and guess what critics do? Make you more popular. Because when we criticize something, we get, and we're honest about it, we get credibility. So when we praise something, people listen to it.
Well, why do you think you get sponsorships, right? Your word is worth something now. Everybody's who's built an audience with integrity, their word is worth a lot.
Yeah, and it's going to get to a point where it's the voices that have been critical and have been honest that when we praise something, that's going to be worth more in the end.
Not to mention, like, I'm offended on behalf of a lot of the friends that I've made over there. There's a lot of YouTubers who are content, like they've written books, they've done screenplays themselves. Like the idea is like, hey, you're not a creator, okay? Calm down. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Actually, they're more of a creator. because they've built their platform on their own. They haven't had to rely on a producer and get funding. Like
Yeah, they did it
Mahler
all from scratch.
did it from scratch. Small business, entrepreneurship, the greatest thing on this planet, by the way. And yeah, don't even listen to that. Like Stuckman, he's done it too. He should know that too. Didn't he like start his own damn channel? And maybe he doesn't respect himself, but yeah, I mean, it sounds like projection, like most of that stuff is. And good, well defended, my friend. Well defended. Look at Mahler looking out for us, man. Looking out.
Oh,
I love it.
Sorry to derail your podcast.
No, you're not. We're gonna roll this right into a freaking HBO coming out with a goddamn prequel for a show that shit the bed and shit it hard.
So they're making Solo.
That's funny. I just heard a live stream. Midnight's Edge. I hate to call these guys out. I love the guys at Midnight's Edge and everything, but I heard some people on there saying Solo was like not that bad of a movie. It was a horrible fucking movie. Infest Nest. Infest Nest.
Is that how you feel, Gary?
That's how I feel. HBO is reportedly turning George R. Martin's worst book, and I'm gonna thanks comics. Or was it Odin? Was it you told me this? Yeah,
I saw the headline. I'm like, oh my god, even they're not gonna defend it.
No, because it's bad. So they HBO has completely forgotten the backlash. Everything about this, I don't know, like. I was agreeing with YouTubers who would never agree with me on anything. Like Preston Jacobs probably hates my guts. He probably saw me as some interloper coming in and fucking talking about Game of Thrones and stealing his. I know, I doubt he thought this. I'm just kidding. But I mean, there's channels, like great channels, by the way, who I follow, who are dedicate themselves. Ideas of Ice and Fire, Preston Jacobs are both great YouTube channels that it sucked for them. Although Preston Jacobs has been hard on this show from the get-go. So, I mean, he's been on it. So we're still waiting on news from the first Game of Thrones prequel. And this is what I wanted to bring up. There's a prequel called Blood Moon that just finished shooting that hasn't been picked up the series. And all of a sudden they're greenlighting another prequel. There's a couple ways you could look at this. That HBO is developing, but the premium cable network doesn't seem content to stop there. A new report from Deadline claims that the second prequel series, this time based on Fire and Blood, Martin's fictional history detailing the Targaryen dynasty, is nearly to pilot. Game of Thrones finally ended earlier this year, but HBO was already hard at work on proposals for no fewer than 5 prequel and spin-off ideas before the hot takes from the final season had even finished cooling. We already know what one of those proposals is: a prequel set thousands of years before the original show and the Golden Age of Heroes, created by Jane Goldman, a series author. She worked on Kingsman. She did work on Kingsman movie.
Kingsman was good.
Yes. The first one. Series author George R. Martin shot a pilot episode earlier this summer, back in May, and has not been ordered to series. Just before the original show ended, Martin noted in his blog that 2 more of the other ideas are still in play, edging closer. But this one's going to be based, I believe, on Aegon's Conquest, which I'm going to stop right there. If it's Aegon's Conquest, so Aegon's Conquest is when the Targaryens took over Westeros. They fled. Their country was Valyria. It used to be dragon lords everywhere. And the Targaryens were just they were not that big of a family. They were just kind of a so-so family, but they had Dragonstone, which is off by Westeros, but they had Daenerys the Dreamer, and she dreamt of the doom of Valyria. And then Valyria is kind of like the Atlantis of Game of Thrones. So it had 14 volcanoes. They all went off at the same time. Nobody knows what happened. It could be magical. It could be children of the forest. Who knows? It could have been the Faceless Men. Or it could have been just a disaster. We don't know, but they all died, and Targaryens were the last dragon lords. They sat outside of Westeros for a good couple hundred years, and until Aegon decided to take it over, and he even had to think about it for a while. And if they do that, there is some great stuff to be had. The thing is, are you going to care? Mahler, are you going to care? Because this is going to be more expensive than Game of Thrones if they do Aegon's Conquest.
I've been burned, man. When it comes to Game of Thrones, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's,
I'm right
it's
there
the
with
same
you.
idea. Like the idea that it's like, you know, we've got a sequel trilogy to the sequel trilogy being written and directed by all the people you want from in Star Wars, but still produced by Disney. I'm like, okay. You'd be like, you're not excited? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, no.
And
Did you see
it's
the
the kind
last
of thing. I feel like we've been like knocked down to the bottom of the ladder again. I feel the same way. Well, even worse than I did when my sister all those years ago was like, "Have you heard of this show called Game of Thrones? You should check it out." And I was like, "What is it?" It's like, "Oh, Sean Bean, medieval castles and fighting and stuff. It's pretty cool." And I was like, "Okay." Check out season 1. And I was like, "This is pretty cool." Finished season 2, and I was really into it. I feel like we're all the way back to when she was pitching it to me, but now I have this horrible taste in my mouth too, and I'm like, "Yeah, it could be good. I don't know."
Yeah, no,
Fine.
I connect with you there too, because I watched the show from the very first season because I saw a show that was all about like medieval people, and I'm like, yes, I love that stuff. And so when I met my wife, when we started dating, I introduced her to the show, and then she fell in love with it, and so it became a thing that we watched together, like from the 4th season on. And so for us to watch it all the way to the end, it was just like a heartbreaking thing because it was something that we both loved together, saw for our very eyes, because even she defended it all the way as much as she could. And then by episode 4 of the last season, she said, I can't defend it anymore. I can't.
Yeah. Well, it's the same way. I watched the show with my wife, and then I brought my whole family, my dad, my mom into it. Like, let's all watch it. And we all started watching it from about the same time, about season 4.
Yeah. And
then just watching it crumble in that last season, I was like, what is this real? What's going on? Like, the moment the rocks fell over Jamie, I was like, I'm fucking done. What the fuck? Yeah. That was whenever I snapped. I was like, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
It's sad.
I came back. This is a hoping against hope, and it was hypnosis, but I was done in season 7. I saw season 7, and the spectacle was good. There was some cool stuff. I liked the battles, but Gendry running back and then sending a bird, and then the bird coming back, and then Gendry, I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. And then they forced the Daenerys Jon relationship, and that's something that should have cultivated over 4 seasons. I'm not kidding, 4 seasons. Yep. And it just changed. It just fucking changed. But I'm like, and the last season, we'll get good battles. Right. And this show should have never have done battles. The thing is, if you read the books, there's no battles. There's a few, but it's really, there's none.
Mostly off screen.
Hardhome was a letter written by Cotter Pike. And there's really no battles. The Stannis thing, it's over that quick.
And you know what, to piggyback what you're saying, by the way, proof that it's less substantive. I had a friend who didn't watch any Game of Thrones. I showed him Hardhome because I was just like, how cool is this? He loved it. He had no connection to Game of Thrones. It's just a really cool set piece.
Yeah.
What does it have to do with meaningful stuff for like each of the characters? The only thing I think you can draw out of it is Jon being a leader, but beyond that, it's a really cool zombie short film. And again, like I think it is cool, but that's like not what we signed up for.
That's what they thought. They thought, oh, we're just going to keep doing these giant set pieces, and that's what Game of Thrones is. It's like, no, Game of Thrones is the conversation, the constant manipulation between characters, and then all the different interplay between the characters. It's not these giant set pieces. Those are fine. Those are great, but like that's not what the show was to me.
Yeah,
and that's what they thought it was.
It was listening to Tyrion Lannister talk about how just as the sword is to the whetstone, the book is to the mind. That was why we love the show, Yeah.
And after Hardhome, you have season 6 leading up to Battle of the Bastards, and then season 7 leading up to, I guess you could say the Gold Road. That's one of the bigger battle scenes they were baiting and stuff. And then obviously season 8, they were like this huge battles. Episode 3 and 5, huge battles, and you're like, oh, okay.
All that build up for Jon Snow for nothing.
Yep.
Ugh. Every year I would rewatch every previous season, like sometimes 2-3 times in a year, just waiting for that next season. I haven't been able to go back and watch it since.
I can't do it. There's no way I'm ever going to watch those again.
I tell you, there is a way for it to, I'm talking about the act of the end, for that to work perfectly, where it would have impact and you would still feel like Jon was the hero at the end. If you had prior to that put in 4 seasons of them building up towards the White Walkers, you wouldn't have to film a giant White Walker battle at first. I would do the initial invasion of Westeros like a horror film, people trapped in castles, trapped in keeps, and you just have them fighting off in the keeps. And they've already established that the others and the White Walkers will leave some people alive. They get their job done, they move on. So you could see Westeros and they get out of their keeps and Westeros is wasted. And then you go to the next season. And then, yes, you have one big fucking battle where they fight the Night King at King's Landing, where he's almost all over Westeros, where fucking Dario Naharis brings people from the east to help him fight because they don't want him getting any farther either, because they can get over a frozen ocean or something like that. And then after that, you still have a season left. Or no, a season and a half. You do it in a season and a half. Then Daenerys takes over, and then you start seeing the monster that she is, and you build it up, and it starts off nice. Then she starts killing people Jon loves, killing people, and then she turns into a fucking maniac at the end. She's like the Mad King, and then Jon finally has to do the deed, offers to do the deed, and you feel like, okay, that's satisfying. That's probably what George is going to do with the books. That would have worked. Something.
Winterfell should have fallen. It should have went all the way down to King's Landing. Jaime should have killed his sister. You know, there was just so many things that were worked toward that did no payoff whatsoever.
Season 8 was a lineup of all of the people, every character with like this, and they just
except for Brienne. A fighting scene with Brienne.
I don't know. Brienne crying. I don't know, man.
No, she didn't get a battle scene. She didn't get a proper battle scene. Brienne and Hearth fighting a bunch of dead dudes. I wanted to see it, back to back with Jaime. We saw him against the wall going,
I remember reading as well that it was like, if Brienne had died in episode 3, like defending whatever, just a perfectly suitable death for a knight. And then you have Jaime, just lost without her, because he that's where he'd found his home, if you will. And it's like there's more motivation there for him to return to Cersei, something to work with. There's so many tweaks you could have made to just make everything smoother. I mean, obviously we would all here probably prefer to just obliterate it and work from the beginning, but I think like in terms of losing investment, right? Like I've talked to Gary before about this, but it's the end of season 4 that really pissed me off. But season 5, they ruin Barristan, and there's a couple of other things. Then season 6 is like, what's his name? Why have I forgotten it? Bolton. Roose is wasted. He's thrown out.
And Roose. Oh god, the book one would have never have fallen for that.
Nope.
Oh no.
The Blackfish is wasted, and basically characters are dropping like flies in a slow way, and then it just rushes towards the end. But what I was staying for was the White Walkers. I was like, this will be worth it. As much as we're losing characters left and right, the White Walkers, they'll nail that. How can you not nail that? That's easy. It's just a horde of things. They'll. And then episode 3, and I was like, oh wow,
wow, can be done.
No, and God, I could sit here all night and tell you why the book is. If they would have leaned into the book with so much stuff, like Jaime's journey right now is so perfect in the books. He's like regained his honor, his hope on life. He's actually a genuinely good person. He's trying to keep his oath to Catelyn Stark, even though she's dead. And the fact that he didn't keep his oath like 100% perfectly, like tortures him. And he genuinely wants the Stark girls to be okay. And then Brienne comes back. And I don't want to ruin it, but like she's Brienne goes through hell, like such a great character. She is such a great character because she's like genuinely good. She's like one of the few genuinely good people in Game of Thrones. Everybody's got shades of gray. Ned was good, but Brienne is just good. She gets a bunch of shit and she doesn't whine about it. She's not a Mary Sue. She's ugly. She gets her face bitten. I mean, she's like, there's so, I don't want to ruin it. But like now, what I saw that when I first saw the show, I thought it could be better than the books. I thought it could be better Lord of the Rings. I'm fucking 100% wrong. Let me show you a better. So the White Walkers were always done wrong. For one, the White Walkers are the undead. Okay. They're not the others. They never did the others from the book, which are basically like evil Legolas. Think of like evil elf, ethereal beings that are kind of beautiful. They have their own language. This is what they really look like. If you look on the calendar right there, that's what they really they're basically like, they almost look like they're aliens, you know. They're it's something very cool that I wish they would have done, not this.
Kind
you
of
know, not the zombie thing. Yeah, it's like a dark elf, exactly. And that's
the thing. In a perfect world, we would be talking about how they could have tweaked it to be much better, but we still got like a decent. They probably did like the worst possible result of what they had.
Yeah.
It's like, what would have been worse? Like, I guess if they all died before they even made it to the wall, that would have been. But at least, I don't know.
This is where I agree with Preston Jacobs 100%. It's basically a couple of Chads, a couple of dude bros got a hold of some fantasy, did a really good job, you know, adapting it for a little while, and then became dude bros and Chads, and like, bro, let's see some battles, bro. You know, like that. So the thing is, I don't think in the video that I may or may not release, I said I don't think fantasy can be done right on television. It's just too fucking expensive. I just don't think it's possible, which sucks because I love the genre so much. But
yeah, me too.
I just don't think it's possible right now unless you're going to do. There's a way. I don't know. Game of Thrones season 1 is great. They did it on film. It's tough. Amazon is spending the right amount of money. They're getting listen. They got all the production design people from the movies. You know, there's some things they did right. There's some things they did wrong. But yeah, I don't know if it's possible. And I know HBO will not be able to pull off. HBO, honestly, if you look back at their history, they're not really a genre place. I mean, they did the Spawn cartoon, okay, great, but they're Sopranos, they're, you know, Silicon Valley. That's kind of their thing. You know, the Watchmen.
That trailer.
It's gonna be.
I still don't know what it's about.
It's going to be a big fucking racism in the police, by the way. So what?
That's what it is. Masks, Antifa.
But like in comparison to Watchmen, because I mean, I don't know much about Watchmen comics, but was Watchmen just the graphic novel, or is there more after?
Okay.
It's
the answer is yes. It's just the graphic novel, but there is more. But DC, it just pretend it doesn't exist because it's not by Alan Moore. The only Watchmen that exists is by Alan Moore.
So what is this based off of? Is it just brand new?
It's a sequel to the Alan Moore comic books.
Oh, right.
It's a direct sequel show that they've just put Watchmen over. That's what it is.
Pretty much.
It is a sequel to a show nobody has seen.
Yeah.
And nobody will see. Because you can't do a true sequel to something in a different medium. It's impossible. So I mean, I don't really understand.
All I'm going to be doing is while I'm watching it, I'll be like, okay, well, what was it like in this universe? Because it's not the same universe. It's not going to be the same universe in my head because I read that universe and I'm watching this one. It's hard to connect those two.
Yeah,
it really is. And so, but circling back to Game of Thrones, like I am not interested in a prequel. I'm with Mahler. I am burned. I'll watch it for the damn channel, but like I'm not excited at all. And I should be.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. Yeah, I'll watch it. I'm not gonna be happy about it.
Yeah, I'm right there.
Freaking Aegon's Conquest, quite frankly, is a better story than what we're getting now in Game of Thrones and Robert's Rebellion. It's the best story. It's this guy and his two sister wives just wake up one day and go, let's conquer a country with our dragons. Fuck yeah. It's awesome. And it's a horrible country with petty. They've got the best bad guy, Black Heron the Black. So Harrenhal, that big melted castle you see in Game of Thrones, it used to exist. And that guy's from the Iron Islands. And they went in so far to the Westeros, they took over like half the Riverlands and part of the Reach and stuff. So they had this guy called Black Heron. And he was just a freaking badass. And that's the bad guy. And
weird how the castle's like melted and there's loads of different holes. Because as far as I can tell, fire cuts through a castle like butter. It should just be in half.
Yes, and that's in the show. Unfortunately, it took all night for Aegon to do that, but it definitely does after a while.
I think they support that well enough in season 2 with what we see. I could believe that the castle was taken over. Like you said, they burned alive in their castle. I can imagine that taking some time. But like, do you see that bit where Daenerys just slices off a huge tower just by going boop? It's just like, okay.
That wouldn't go like that.
Weird that Jon can just sit behind that stone while the fire is burning. Very confusing. Almost like they wanted to the fire is as powerful as it needs to be whenever they want something to happen.
Interesting.
Well, they had to stick him there while he didn't fulfill the prophecy.
Well, you see, it would have been too obvious for John to kill the Night King. That's just too obvious.
Yeah.
And that's how we all write, right? We just don't make obvious things out. Luke saving Vader, too obvious. We should have had the Emperor throw Vader down the chasm.
You know what?
Expectations.
Leia should have came in and just saved everybody. That's what happened.
Leia should have flown in.
Yes.
Oh, they still might do that. I mean, you're giving them ideas.
What if Luke was Vader's father? Why not?
What if Rey is Luke and Vader's father?
Yes.
There we go.
Time travel.
Nailing it.
Time travel.
Nailing it.
Yes.
All right. I got to get to some super chats, guys. All right.
Well, before you do, I have to head out because my wife's going to bed, and Lord knows I can't be yakking while she's trying to go.
I got you. No. Do what you got. Thanks for coming in, Odin.
Thanks for having me on as always, and good
Plug your
night
channel.
to everyone. Go check me out, Odin's movie blog. Talk about topical news, such stuff. And
He's a critic who's a cynic.
yeah, I have a movie blog. I don't know if anyone knew this. I have a movie blog, but yeah,
It's in the title.
it is. Yeah.
All white Odin. There you go.
Good night, Odin.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Odin. All right, and do not feel if you guys need to bail at any time, just let me know. I'll be chugging through these super chats. Feel free to chime in. I've already read that one. It's called Cultural Appropriation of Comic / Movie Culture for the Woke. A Deja Outlaw for $4.99. Indeed. I completely agree. And we're just going to get more until it's not around anymore. Baptist 702 for $5. Marvel and DC Comics will have to crash and burn with new free thinking and refreshing comic book companies rising from the ashes. Yep. That's how things roll.
Yeah.
I mean, we just didn't want it to. And that's the whole basis of Comicsgate, even Gamergate, and the Fandom Menace is we still want to give you money.
Yeah. Please let us do it.
We really like to give you some cheddar. You're just making it hard. Can you stop?
You remind me of like when season 8 finished. It was like, can you do it again? I'll pay.
Just
do it again.
Just make a good one.
If everybody who would have signed that petition had given some money, they could have done.
Well, yeah. Let's say 1 billion people signed it. I'm pretty sure even D&D would be like, whoa.
I think they were whoa on how many people signed it to begin with because they could not stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Why not have a contest? Best Batman comic gets it. Says Laura stole my fan fiction, or Rianne stole my fan fiction story. Why not have a contest? Best Batman comic gets it. Oh, you mean with Zoe? Yeah. Oh, boy. Scott Taylor for Australian $5. Are they making a Blake 7? Hope so, but don't want to see gender swap SJWs fighting the patriarchy. Then you don't want them making it in 2019. Trust me. Scott Taylor. Original Star Wars fan, $5. Question, forget The Last Jedi. How do you get past Goofy The Force Awakens? I don't. A New Hope copy. Kylo doesn't need the helmet. Han Solo dead. EU discarded. Discuss perhaps. Original Star Wars fan. I am not a fan of The Force Awakens. I know there's many people in the Phantom Menace who are, but I'm not.
Nope.
No.
I think there's more people who have turned on it now than there are people who even like it anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the TLJ retroactively, I think, killed a lot of the enthusiasm that anybody had for 7.
Initially, I thought it was okay. I came out of it going, okay, it was a little lackluster, but it's potential. It's
right.
Stuff. And then TLJ just made that movie completely irrelevant. So it's
yeah.
I think JJ was successful in his goal, which was to dangle those keys just to convince everybody they were watching something they wanted. He nailed it. It worked on me. Like it worked on a huge audiences. But then you just realize, like, wait, what was that?
Yeah.
Like you look past the keys and there's this horrible goblin that's half melted, and you're like, oh.
I saw TFA multiple times. TLJ once. That was it.
I think the only reason he did The Rise of Skywalker is he knew he was going to sign the deal with Warner Brothers and doesn't give two shits after this movie is done. He's got his quarter bill or half bill, whatever it is. He's taking over Hollywood, and the guy has no talent whatsoever. But as far as that you know, that film is The Force Awakens. I wasn't fooled. There's a YouTuber out there, the Den of Nerd, who basically said the Phantom Menace's logic is off. Because we think The Rise of Skywalker will be bad based on you know, J.J. Abrams's previous work, and I'm paraphrasing, all right, and The Last Jedi, and you can't. And he said you can't. It's not fair to judge. I think he said J.J. based on Rian Johnson's work, and he said it was illogical. And I'm saying we're watching the third. It's a 3-part story, one single story in 3 parts, and the first 2 have sucked.
Yeah,
the third one will suck. Yeah,
it's impossible. Even if it's a great, like, it could be a great movie in and of itself, but it's going to be a terrible movie because it is the 3rd movie in a trilogy.
Again, there's a lot of aspects it has to choose which continuity it wants. Like, is Kylo Ren a good guy or a bad guy? Choose. You're going to be contradicting something, but you can choose. Well, who is Rey's parents going to matter or not? You have to choose. You're going to be contradicting something no matter what you do. And that's the horrible position he is as a writer. Also, Gary, I meant to mention this because I heard you say it on one of your videos. I watched Alias 2. Alias is full of J.J. Abrams stuff. MacGuffins, mystery boxes, constantly pushing everything forward because he doesn't know where to end. The Rambaldi devices, there's like a bazillion of them. It's like, why?
And they're always red. There's always the color red involved in everything. Yeah.
Really weird devices too that are just like, how could he possibly have invented this? And you're just like, well, he's a magical guy. I don't know. But the ending to that show as well, it's very like, what in the world? I remember watching that when Buffy and Angel was still coming out too, and I was just like, I wish this was as good as Buffy and Angel.
It started, but then you started seeing through J.J. Abrams, and he is a charlatan. That's what he is. That's what he does.
Snake oil.
The Rise of Skywalker is going to be an episode of fucking Alias. They're going to be running around with a MacGuffin, going to different locations, and you know, half of a code will be here, and she'll have to run over there, and by the end, it won't even matter because you just want to get the fuck out.
You got a migraine.
Yes.
Do you remember the amount of resets in Alias as well? It was like they keep recreating. There's a task force, and they get told they have to fetch an item. And every season, it gets broken apart. Everything's over. It's all done with.
Division
2 episodes later, everything's back.
Yep.
It's like, is it SI6? S something
6? And then, like, her dad's good, and then he was like a bad guy.
And Sloan ends up being the boss again in season, like, 4 or 5, even though he's like a horrible terrorist criminal person. You're like, how is this? Status quo. He keeps coming back. He's like, that's what people want, right? That's what people want, right? And you compare it again. Sorry, I keep doing this. But you compare it to Buffy, where every season they're just like, we're moving on. We're moving on with our formula. We're doing something different now.
We did this great thing. We're going to do another great thing because we like to challenge ourselves and write something new and original.
High school ends. They don't go, no, we have another year. Everyone has to repeat the last year of high school. It's like, nope, now high school's over. We're going to college. Some of us are going to try and get jobs. We have Giles, the midlife crisis in season 4 because he doesn't know what he's doing. No librarian, no
magic shop.
Watcher.
I stood the magic shop, by the way, it was on the Paramount lot. It's on the Paramount lot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I stood inside that.
But yeah, they bring that in and then they blow it up. And we don't have that anymore as a place to go to. I really respect how the show is just like, no, things change, things move on.
You know, Sarah Connor for that 2 seasons was like that too. There's rare shows that do that, and J.J. Abrams is not involved in any of them. So yes, Rise of Skywalker will be a meandering chase. And by the way, when we find out Rey's parents, it won't matter because it'll be at the end. Everything will be a twist, and it'll be at the end, and it'll have no impact because it'll just be, oh, that's her parents, and then we have no time to react to it because the movie's over. Because they told us at the end.
That moment where you find it out, and then you go, how does this affect the other 2 films? Give me a second. And then the credits are rolling, and you're like, no, hang on. What is? And then the person next to you is like, oh, what does that mean? It's like,
I know it probably won't happen, but the one where the leak where she renounces her name and becomes Skywalker at the end, I could totally that is such an Alias thing, and that's where I think a lot of the leaks are coming from. But I know a lot of people didn't watch Alias. If you watched Alias, a lot of these leaks sound like things from Alias, so I think people are fucking around a little bit. But I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
And let's not even bring up Lost.
Nope. Oh God, no.
Nope.
Don't do it. Don't touch it.
That's why this is actually really interesting. I'm excited to go see it because who knows how bad it's going to be.
Absolutely. Who knows what we're going to get.
What choose your own adventure angle are we going to watch? It's going to be great.
Tom King says, lick that like button. Lick that like button, everybody. Thank you, Tom King, for the $2. The 300-pound leprechaun for $5. Gary, have you and the panel seen the article about the Galaxy was supposed to how Galaxy was supposed to be based on the original movies, Galaxy's Edge? Yes, I have seen that. It's in actually Pirates and Princesses. That's a blog from Clownsfish TV. Wrote that, and it's really good. I covered it in a video. And yes, it was supposed to have original trilogy characters and prequel characters, and they shit canned it based on Bob Iger seeing dailies from the movies, or they didn't want to pay George residuals, which is, I believe, the latter. Personally, I don't think Bob Iger said, "Oh, I saw these dailies from freaking Solo or whatever. We need to make everything on the new stuff." Yeah, bullshit. Love Doctor 69 all day. There you go for $2. Dawn did nothing wrong. Also, hi Rags.
Oh, the Dawn. For a second there, I thought you were saying Dawn as in Buffy.
Dawn, not Dawn.
Dawn. You can tell my mind is a bit on Buffy these days.
It's all right. Well, you've been watching it.
Yeah.
Same here. Yeah. No, I get I get the same way.
But yes, the Dawn is great. Sorry if that's what that was about. All worship the Dawn, Brie Larson's primary victim.
Yes. Poor Dawn. Candace Marie, who I saw on Facebook earlier today. What's up, Candace? For $2. Hail Gary. Glad to the gang. Glad the gang is together tonight. Yes, very much so. I'm glad it came together. Vashta Narada. Ooh, I like that. For Canadian $10. Pardon the pun. But what's the end game for the scorched earth policy of SJWs? Is it simply to destroy something that's male oriented? Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. It's to
and again, the sad thing is, like, they'll be like, Back to the Future, male oriented. You'd be like, destroy. It's not like Back to the Future was this like power tools fueled meat eating manly romp through action. This is like no. It's like Ghostbusters, where they completely misunderstand the idea of it, like as if it's like this testosterone fueled action packed series that they want to have a women take on. It's like wait. They're like exterminators. They're not. Yeah. You're missing everything about Ghost, but again, it's funny because we were talking about this earlier, but watch Plinkett's video. It just annihilates the idea of how they screwed up their approach, but they seem to be doing it with everything. Ignoring like not looking at the heart and soul of these franchises, instead just looking on the surface, like, oh, action movie with guys. Let's make it with girls. You're like, no,
it'll be just as good.
The idea is to just keep hammering away and creating these narratives until they repeat the lie enough times that it becomes true.
And to clarify as well, they could have done just as bad a job if they were like, let's remake this action Exterminators movie with a bunch of new guys, and they just bring a bunch of younger community. It could have been just as bad. It's not the fact that it's women delivering the lines. It's just this inherent misunderstanding about what kind of project they're even creating in the first place.
Word. Absolutely. And Daniel Reislink for 20 Czechoslovakian pesos says Superman will save the free folks. Spoilers. I see what you did there, Daniel. You're good. Ian Aldridge for $5. Quarter Black should change his name to 3/4 Mexican.
Not even any.
Well, he's already kind of settled on Quarter Black, and I like it very much. At least it's not.
I think that's my brand. Yeah.
I was going to say, by the way, that earlier super chat, you said the title was, the profile was Vashta Narada. To prove my Doctor Who knowledge, that's season 4, right?
That is season 4.
David Silence Tennant. In the Library.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, how's that? I think I told you before, but I dropped off soon after he dropped off.
That's probably a good time.
I am surrounded by nerds.
You are. So the Boston.
You bought a ticket.
I loved Silence in the Library and Midnight, but Waters of Mars, that was my favorite Doctor Who episode. I recommend everyone see it.
It is a classic that people did not recognize until much later, including myself. It's it's David Tennant's best performance by far.
Oh, I adored it. It's so much fun.
So
a god man realizing the rules are his own. I was like, oh,
yep. So that's a perfect. I mean, sorry. Seasons 1 through 4 and the specials, perfection to me. Even the bad episodes. What's up, Steven? What were you going to say? Sorry.
Oh no, nothing.
Oh, so the Vashta Nerada, everybody, if you don't know out there in the audience, is basically dust that it's shadow. It's a shadow that eats you.
like piranhas that are invisible in the shadows.
Yep.
Oh.
Quite creepy.
I'll actually hang on. Just within reach, I'm gonna knock something over here, but I don't want to. But just to let you know how big of a nerd I am, not that you had any question at all. I have my Vashta Nerada action figure right here. This is why Doctor Who has the coolest action figures. It's Major Tom, basically.
Did they get ruined at all? Because I know that the Blinking Angels thing, they Weeping Angels, sorry, they eventually got ruined. They were just used over and over and over and over again.
These did not. They have these are pure. So I love the Vashta Nerada.
Yeah, good stuff. Because they were able to play with that quite a bit, just shadows moving around, and the less light you have, the more concern. It was good stuff.
Good stuff. All right. Next super chat is Steven Peaster for $2. Mahler, love your channel. Glad you are here.
Thank you.
He follows up for $5. Mahler, do you have interest in covering any anime series or films? Also, could you and Gary do videos / conversations one-on-one?
We do and will. I think.
Yes. We have.
As for anime, I've told people this before. They're like, "Aren't you worried with how long you take on videos that you'll never be able to keep up to date with blah blah blah?" And I'm like, I actually kind of wish sometimes they would just stop for a year, just 1 year. Don't release anything for a sec, okay? I got a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk about. Give me some time. But the idea being that there's a lot of TV shows, movies, and even anime that I'd like to talk about. I'd like to do a series on One Punch Man or FMA Brotherhood. They were two of my favorites. Because I think storytelling basically transcends medium. Things you talk about that are great in a movie can absolutely work for a TV show or an anime or a book or web comic. There's so many different ideas to talk about and go through that translate. And yeah, I'm not averse to anime. A lot of people think that I just don't like it. It's like, no, I just haven't watched a lot of it because I really focus on films and TV. I try and I'm still stocking up on it. There's still things that are considered classics that I haven't seen. So, but I have a friend of mine who's his whole job is to show me the best of anime, and he's my big filter. So I've seen 5, and One Punch Man and FMA Brotherhood are 2 that I consider to be very, very good, and they're highly regarded by a lot of people as well. So yeah, I wouldn't mind doing something on them. I've referenced One Punch Man in my TFA video. I was talking about how I think it's to do with the idea of a powerful character being well written versus just dominating. You can imagine how to compare that, because for anybody who doesn't know, One Punch Man is about a character that can kill anything in essentially the flick of his finger, and you're like, so how can that be interesting if it's a superhero show? And it's like, that's the challenge, that's the interesting part. Never say never when it comes to writing. Sometimes you're like, how could you possibly make that fun? It's like, that's the thing. How can Captain Marvel possibly be interesting? It's like, well, give her some flaws. It's very simple.
Very simple. Yeah, no.
I'm interested in pretty much covering everything. It's just one at a time. Got to make sure I do it right. I'm very concerned about accuracy and entertainment right now, so it just takes me a while to get videos done. But I kind of look at them as once I'm done, I never have to look back. Game of Thrones season 8 episode 5, I'm done with it. Never gonna go near it ever again. I'll talk about it, obviously, but I don't need to make any more videos about it. It's dead.
Word. Yeah. I like Battleship Yamamoto. I like Attack on Titan. I like Captain Harlock. I need to read My Hero Academia. I haven't done that yet, but I know that's manga. But getting into it, I love it. I think it's cool. But by the way, Quarter Black and Comics Division and Odin and Steven are awesome too. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Toby Carnes for $5. Do you think the recent leaks for episode 9 are real or just an over-elaborate false flag operation by Disney to hide the actual plot from the TLJ critics? I actually believe that is the answer. I don't think they're actually doing market research. I'm sorry to contradict my friend, but the government does has admitted, the CIA has admitted that they have infiltrated the UFO community, among others, with misinformation because because sometimes the UFO community accidentally runs across like a real government program, like a jet or something like that, and they want to muddy the waters so that doesn't get out. Why wouldn't Disney do that? If a real plot leak gets out, you leak 9 things at once, and it. So
I had a guy reach out to me a few weeks ago that was a quote unquote insider, and that's one of the things that he told me was that Disney was going to be releasing a lot of red herrings out there just to keep people off the real track of what they're doing.
Do we lose Quarterblack? I think we lost Quarterblack.
Yeah, it looks like he dropped out.
Come back, Quarterblack. Oh, he'll come back. But sorry, Steven, go on.
He was just telling me that was basically what they were going to be doing is a big misinformation campaign, leaking out little truths along with a whole bunch of nonsense. So I don't know how they're going to save it. If they bring Palpy back, I don't think that's going to be as big, or I think it's going to be a flashback, if anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, because if they bring him back all the way, that undercuts everything Luke and Darth Vader did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Anakin.
I'm getting flashbacks as well. I remember reading the Predator leaks. The plot got leaked, and I remember me and Wolf read it together, and we were like, nah, this is too stupid. They're not doing this. Then trailer 1 and 2 came out, and we were like, oh no, this is matching the plot leaks entirely. And it seems like that's what's happening with, like, for example, people talking about how like C-3PO is going to get uploaded with a weird thing that turns him into like a battle droid, and then you have that moment where he's got red eyes. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. So my bet is that the leaks are accurate, and it's not based on anything solid. Just a feeling. I think they're probably accurate.
The Game of Thrones leaks were mostly accurate.
Yep.
Towards the end, they were. As a matter of fact, one guy was 100% spot on. So
I remember reading them. Missandei gets executed by Cersei. I remember reading that and being like, "How in the world is Cersei going to capture Missandei? How is that possibly?" She hangs out with Daenerys constantly. And then you watch the episode and you're like, how in the world did she capture Missandei? That didn't make any sense. So the plot leaks may sound stupid, but you never know.
No, when I read the end, actually, Jeremy read it and I read it at the same time, and then Jeremy did a video and he's like, if this is true, this is the dumbest thing ever. And it turned out to be true. And it was Jon, killing Daenerys. And it's the way they described it. It's like Jon and Daenerys were friends like 5 minutes previous in screen time. And then he thinks about it it's I'm sorry, prequel fans. It's like Anakin, cuddling with Padme and then killing younglings like 15 minutes later.
2 seconds later.
I don't feel like there was enough time. Talking Pulp for $10. Star Trek 1 was actually the first on-screen appearance of Galactus, years before Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silverfish Burn. That's a good point. Adam Child for $5. Hi, Gary. Watching Doomcock now, but I just wanted to show some love. I think it's time to remake Bob Ross. It could be Bobby Ross or Le Bob Ross. They could, Adam Child. They could. Thank you for the love. All hail Doomcock. Lady Mist, $5. Yeah. Mahler's Captain Marvel, an unabridged man, should be played instead of the movie. It was so much more entertaining. Totally agree.
I can't remember. Is it longer than the movie? Is my video, or is it less longer? I can't remember. But either way, the
movie was 2 hours and 5 minutes, I believe.
So. Then my video is longer. Oh no, wait. My Captain Marvel video was 1 hour and 50 something, I think. So yeah, there you go. I'll save you a little bit of time.
Taco Sunrise for $5. We're getting close to the end here, folks, by the way. So we're wrapping it up. Hello, Long Man. Glad to see you on one of these massives. Gary, I'm reading book 4 of The Expanse. It's great so far. Yeah, the first 5 books are fucking brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, thanks. Hi.
And he says, thank you. Yeah. Grand Moff Thanos for $4.99. Take my money, Stephen Walton. And he said it twice for $4.99 twice. So I can I can take that and I can put that towards the book. How's that sound?
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, man. Hail, appreciate your support.
Darkstar 76, $5. Hail, Gary. Hail, guess what are all your thoughts on the Bill Burr Rotten Tomatoes critics ratings being almost the opposite of Dave's? Oh, I didn't notice that.
Oh yeah, I haven't even checked.
That was a great comedy special.
It really was. Did Bill Burr go after transgender people in the special? I'm trying to remember. I don't think he did.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it was a cancel culture and Me Too.
Yeah. Oh, he went hard after feminists, though. Oh my god.
Yeah, like right off the bat too, right? Yeah.
You can go after feminists though, because feminists don't control the entertainment industry, and the Alphabet crew does.
Yeah.
Joker Coffer for $15. Good work. Keep it up. Thank you, Joker Coffer. I will do my very best, and these guys always do good work, so they'll just wake up in the morning and be awesome like they are. Imma Potato. I'm a potato. I'm for $9.11. To Stuckman, I can spend 3 hours frosting a turd, but it doesn't make me a chef worthy of a 5-star Yelp rating. That was good. Thank you. I mean, listen, all respect to Stuckman. He doesn't know who I am. I'm sure he knows who Mahler is. And well, I'm sure he hears the Mahler.
It's funny you say that. Like, I'm like this blight on the film criticism community. They're like, oh, Mahler, yeah, the guy who doesn't let people have opinions. And I'm like, no, you can talk to me if you're like, no, I'm talking to you. You think that there's objectivity in art. I'm like, okay, but do you want to ask me what I think that means? They're like, no.
How many subscribers does Stuckman have? Is he like one of those million guys?
I'm pretty sure he's up to like 1 million or whatever. I don't know.
I think so.
He's got Mahler footsteps behind him. That's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
I
deal.
gotta make my High School Musical praise if that ever happens.
Oh, dude,
Jeremy will be hounding me for that. If I get anywhere
we need
near
to.
1 million.
We need to start a meme for you, like a PewDiePie meme. Subscribe to Mahler. Get that going. Yeah.
Back there.
I would too. Adam Child for $2. We'll miss the Inquisition. Oh, Adam. Okay, we'll cancel it because you're not going there. We'll wait till you get back. Just kidding. Take $2. I would have sent. Thanks, Adam. You will be missed though, my friend. I appreciate it. Here's Tom for Midnight's Edge After Dark. That sure a hell wasn't me. I hate Solo. I know you don't. It wasn't you, buddy. We know who it was. By the way, Tom, we got to get you on. Maybe like next Friday we get you on. Chris Stanley for $10, re-channeling my got rage. Thanks. Oh, yes. And it's there. It's there. I actually recorded a video. I think I'm going to release it tomorrow, and I re-channeled it too. I don't know if anybody gives a shit anymore, but I did.
I was told by a couple of people, it's like you've wasted your opportunity. You've taken too long with the video to make it. And I was like, it's fine. It's just dormant. Don't worry, it'll come back out. For that 2.5 hours.
Thinking about it.
Yeah, for that 2.5 hours you watch my video, you can just treat it as a moment where you can just let it out and then go back. It's just like, it's just coming out.
I've tried so hard to write a chapter about what happened with Game of Thrones. But it's so difficult because it's just so all-encompassing that just the total disaster that it became. Yeah. And but I do have a framework for it. I borrowed a quote of yours, like a paragraph of yours from one of your videos, Mahler, because they were just so good.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
You really did. I mean, the only way to sum it up, and it's harsh. It's really the harshest criticism because we can't blame agenda on it. We can't. Yeah. There was certainly, it was in there, and it did derail some characters. But what derailed the whole show is those guys were just fucking done, and they wanted to leave.
Yeah, like one thing I would give you, like they clearly wanted Sansa to be queen of the North because of her intelligence, and it made no sense. Like none of it was
no sense at all.
Like the idea that she tried to turn Varys. There's just so much about that makes no sense at all. Do you remember the last time I think she even saw Varys was season 1, like properly? Because there's no other real scene other than like Varys standing in the distance. Like it blows my mind. The idea that, can you imagine we had that scene where they go, "Oh, Varys has been incinerated by Daenerys," and Sansa's just like, "Damn." I needed him.
I kind of take the agenda thing back. As a matter of fact, I fully take it back because all the men did act fucking stupid. In the season.
Every single one.
All fucking John was stupid as fuck, and
Tyrion
stupid. Tyrion was stupid as fuck. Varys was stupid as fuck.
Jamie.
Yeah. The way Littlefinger went out and said I can't stop talking about that one. That's the one. Littlefinger was the best bad guy in the show. He was basically Satan. So, and I've made this analogy before, but Varys and Littlefinger were God and Satan. moving all the pieces around, and God was a eunuch, and I love the imagery of that, and having their conversations and wanting to kill each other, but they not yet, because they liked competing against each other so much, and they let that go, which is like that's the best part of the show, the climbing the ladder.
And Conleth Hill expressed that he was like, it was a shame that him and Littlefinger, like Varys and Littlefinger, didn't get to have one more scene. Yeah, that should have happened. There should have been a scene where those two talk to each other. What happened? And I don't know about you guys, but I always felt like, I thought when I was watching the show, I was like, Littlefinger's going to die in a trial by combat, considering his history. It's like the only way to defeat him is not through discussions, not through debate, it's not through tactics. It has to be through physical force, because that's Littlefinger. It's the only weakness he has. It's like, I mean, he gets his throat cut by Arya because Arya and Sansa tricked him. You're like,
but Arya didn't get any kills, Mahler. Arya didn't get any kills except for the entire Frey male line and Littlefinger and the Night King.
Oh yeah, and the Night King and all of his men. So.
Well, they didn't know what to do with Bran. It was like as soon as he showed up, he was like just having a writer in the room. You know, they had no idea how to take his story.
That's one of those ones you really need to not think about. It's like, Bran, did you know that hundreds of thousands of innocent people are going to be melted? Did you know that? And he's just like, well, it ended up with me being king, so it's for the best. It's like, Brad.
And they're so not going that direction with the character. In the book, they didn't take a season off. In the book, he is important. And it's honestly questionable on whether he's the good guy or not. That's the thing, is Melisandre sees I don't want to ruin too well. Melisandre sees a vision, and she sees Bran as evil. She sees Bran, she sees the darkness as evil. Remember, the Lord of Light is supposed to be the good guy, although you have to burn children to make him happy. But for the most part, he does everything else pretty good after you burn the children. And of course, you have slaves in his service. But the other good guy is surrounded by a bunch of dead people in trees, and possibly maybe in cahoots with the others, maybe not, we don't know. And it's that's the cool thing about it. It's Lord of the Rings with shades of gray, and the book really started out promising, and now, especially after, I love that The Verge brought up that it's George R. Martin's worst book. The writing in that book sucks. It's a bad book. It was very hard to get through. And A World of Ice and Fire, his other companion book, was amazing. I burned right through it. It was great. So I don't know if he's even got it anymore, folks. Even if he finishes Winds of Winter, there's a good chance it might suck. Man. Sorry. Which is really kind of a picker.
That really sucks. That really hurts.
It does. And
I got so deep into all the lore. I was watching Jacob Preston's videos, getting super deep into the lore. Yep. I read all the books, and just it hurts.
Anybody watch Alt Shift X's channel here?
Yep.
Oh, that's a journey. Watching him lay everything out, and then progressively through season 8, you can just hear it in his voice. He's like, "Well, that didn't go anywhere. That didn't go anywhere."
I feel so bad for that guy, because that's a good channel. I mean, he's going in the expanse, so good for him. I wish him all the luck. And I subscribe.
Like the idea that you critics, you couldn't make something. I'm just like, I don't even care. Just hire that guy on the team. Just have him on the team.
Yeah.
Just make him your lore guy.
Dude,
consultant.
This is the thing, like, I know like a whole bunch about Star Wars or Game of Thrones or even the MCU, and I'm just like, I'm just a guy. Like, surely there's people you can pay who pay attention to what came before. That's all I'm asking. Like, just get some guy to be like, oh, hey, maybe Daenerys shouldn't kill these children. But then I say that to myself, and I'm like, oh, wait, D&D would be like, oh, you don't understand our writing. You don't understand what we're doing. We're achieving something. You need to go away. Like, I'm suggesting hire a person like that, but I'm like, just ignore them anyway, so...
When you okay, it was also based on the book series. That's where Preston came from and the other guys. But Alt Shift X came from that show. This is for your streaming services. Hopefully somebody's listening to from a show dropping weekly. Alt Shift X was created, got millions of views. Then there's Preston. Then there's like Johnny Come Latelys like me. And I've covered the show, but nobody cared until season 8. And it really helps your show. And that's the passion of fandom, and like Mueller just said, that can't be ignored. Hire these fucking people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to reflect back on that Chris Stuckman comment as well, I watched Alt Shift X's channel like a TV show too. I was like, oh, this is the next episode in his coverage of a TV show I'm watching. And then you could treat that with other content creators as well, because they do so well. They're not just giving you information, because that's not the only thing you do. You have to present it in a way. If you just have literally like a black screen and a robotic voice saying something like, Daenerys shouldn't kill children. Point 2. Jamie should be intelligent. You'll just be like, yeah, okay, this is fun. you need, this pacing elements, presentation, humor, the delivery of information. It can't just be all of it at once. You want to explore it, like, smooth it out. And Ultra X's way of doing it was always very you felt like you're getting a full meal with a video like that. You were like, oh, he's going to delve into all kinds of sources. And what I'm getting at, I guess, is that he was making his own TV show as a result of his praising of another TV show in a critical manner. He was, because being critical doesn't necessarily mean you constantly criticize in like a negative way. You can point out how well something's constructed, which is a lot of what he was doing. Yeah, and it generates more fans. It's symbiotic, and I just
he made a bunch of Game of Thrones fans without a doubt. Like a huge number.
And like, to correct, like, Chris Stuckman made it sound like we're parasites. I would rather just be like looked at as symbiotic, that we exist to bolster / criticize each other as well. That's another thing. Critics criticize critics. Does that mean that critics can't exist without critics?
Yeah,
like, it just starts to get confusing, but
it does. But it's a good question.
It's critics all the way down.
Like, I guess I couldn't have existed if not for Chris Stuckman making a dumb tweet that I could make a tweet about, so that's
I had to learn to be a critic to sell books. So I had to learn, because before I was super easy to please, and I read just about anything, kind of like it, because I just like comic books. But I had to learn to be discerning and learn other people's taste and be open to other people's taste, so I could sell a book and be honest about it. That's where I honed my quote unquote skill. I don't know if you call it a skill, but that's what I did. I just passed on what I liked, and but I was also open to read other things and get into other things I normally wouldn't, which I was very happy to do. But yeah, when Mahler praises something, he's going to make a lot of fans of that thing. He's going to make a lot of Buffy fans when we talk about this. Mahler,
it's coming. I want to make that video one day.
Y'all got me ready to bust out my box set.
Got to nail it.
Yep. Some new Buffy fans will be born from Mahler. So,
and again, to piggyback what you were saying as well, you could have like 3 people who conclude season 5, episode 8 is really bad. One of them makes, they all make a video, and one of their videos is like, I hate it because they didn't, and they come up with a criticism that's not even close to what's actually wrong with the episode. Like, every critic is learning how to interpret the information, because we're all like conduits, if you will. Everyone sees the episode, it goes through everybody, and everybody's going to convert that into different pieces of information or breakdowns and stuff.
Right.
And there's a reason why some people are listened to more and some are less, and there's all kinds of reasons that happens. But the idea that, like, to be a critic, it's so easy. It's just like, oh, you just have to rant about a thing. It's like, you need accuracy, presentation, entertainment, humor. There's so many aspects to it, and it's just weird to have to go to bat for like YouTubers against a YouTuber. It's really weird.
It kind of is, but it's good. It's a good thing to do. We're still considered bottom of the barrel. That's fine. I like the bottom of the barrel. That's where I live. Alice Shipwise, she has a great fan fiction rewrite of season 8. Says, I'm a potato for $5. Is she got a website? Or I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Rechanneling my Game of Thrones rage. I read that already. Chris Stanley, thank you for $10 again. Chris Chambers, Canadian $5. Arya killing the Night King was Luke drinking the green alien cow milk of Game of Thrones. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I just want to add the shot where Jon is like behind a rock while the dragon's attacking.
Yeah, that's high up there.
That's him wiping his mouth.
Yeah, that's the milk shot for me. I'm just like, oh yeah, Jon, yeah, you're right. Do you remember all the excuses people had? They were like, Jon isn't shouting at the dragon; he's signaling Arya to go and get the Night King. And it's like there's just nothing supporting that in the following episode. Nobody talks about any of that.
No, he was screaming impotently.
Yeah, he was just like, I don't like you, Mr. Dragon. Even though if he poked the dragon with his Valyrian sword, the dragon falls apart. It's just like he's just standing there for some reason.
Because it's undead. Yeah, and that was the whole point of him getting that sword. And what did he come back to life for? To shank Daenerys? Okay, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I
Andrew
can't believe we had the two swords that made ice in Winterfell, and no one acknowledged that.
True.
No, and it meant nothing really other than them being together. And it was supposed to fall into there's always got to be a Stark and Winterfell and blah, blah, blah. But so many forgotten things. Andrew Clark for $2. Mahler, are you a diegetic narrative critic?
I would have to ask them what they mean by that exactly.
Yeah, what's a diegetic?
I'm assuming that refers, like, I know that in relation to, for example, like a soundtrack can be diegetic or not, meaning that it comes from inside the film or it's placed on top, like a jukebox playing versus a soundtrack in the background. I'm not sure what that would mean in terms of critic commentary.
It's a style of fiction storytelling that presents an interior view of a world in which details about the world itself and the experience of its characters are revealed explicitly through narrative. The story is told or recounted as opposed to shown or enacted. That is from Wikipedia.
And what was the initial question again?
Are you a diegetic narrative critic?
If I'm understanding the question right, does it mean like do I only consider like the content within rather than commentary on without?
It means you're a jukebox.
I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that. My work, I'd say, is typically like I try and remain within the content as much as possible. But I'll usually seep out every once in a while. Like if I see a quote from Rian Johnson saying, "No, I've not seen any valid criticism of my movie yet," I'll be like, "How am I not throwing that in my video? Like I have to." Right?
Yeah. No, that's very good. I come in with resentments. I have resentments towards Spider-Man. Yeah, so it's not really clear all the time, but I try to tell people that it's just my opinion. That's all. I'm not saying it's super informed. It's what I think it is, but I did a lot of drugs in the 80s. Keep that in mind. The Force Awakens should have subverted expectations by showing Rey as maybe Force sensitive, but Yoda Obi Bing Finn is whom the Force awoke in. Okay. I'm a potatoes for 7-Eleven. I'll say this. I was Finn was the one before I saw The Force Awakens. That was the one character I was the most interested in. When I saw the first trailer, I'm like, I want to know about that.
Defecting Stormtrooper?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Even Sam Jackson thought he was going to be a Jedi. You know,
and
I thought that was the story arc they were going to run with. I thought he had a great, I mean, maybe not great, but he had a good story arc in TFA. Sacrificing himself, you know, picking up the saber and getting cut up, and really most of the Last Jedi should have been him recovering, not just waking up in a balloon bag.
Yeah,
you know.
Yep.
Yeah, they had a lot of potential with that character. That like the teaser was all Finn. It was Finn waking up in the desert after the crash, and kind of you thought, oh, this is the new character, but they kind of put him off to the side for Rey, of course. But again, it's potential. That movie had potential, and then he went into the second one, and they destroyed all the potential it had.
In all fairness to Boyega, the two things they did that wasn't his fault was they made his character a clown, which they shouldn't have, and they should have let him use his native accent. It's so much better.
Yes.
I don't understand why they did that. Nicholas Horton for £5. Star Blazers remake is getting a third season in movie format again to be released late 2020. Awesome. I love that. Christy is giving $1 when she shouldn't because she's an amazing wrench and she does amazing work. Yeah. And Christy always has the Fandom Menaces back. Always. So all hail Christy.
All hail.
And all of our wrenches, Mark Lazerth, DJ D Show, Chris Persia. I don't see who's in there. I apologize, but I will give you proper props. Brown, we're getting close to the end. Brown Bats Toy Box for $5. New leak, Hamill kills everybody in the hall with his lightsaber, turns and says, "I'm going home to sleep with my wife." Shake, rattle, and roll, the end. Yes.
That would be great. Please, can we have that?
Mara Jade's gonna go get some.
Well, yeah, that should be the end of the movie. That should just be just like Clue. It'll end with a bunch of different versions of the end. That's awesome. What we should see.
I want Tim Curry in it though, for sure.
Yes.
Just donated to Steven's project at Itchy's book. Keep up the great work. Darkstar76 for $5. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for supporting us, man. Support Phantom Menace authors. We appreciate it.
Please do. Yeah, very soon at the end of all my videos, there will be an ad for both of those books on all of my videos. So, and the only thing I ask in return is that you please consider supporting the books is whenever you can. I know not everybody's made of money, but I think it's, I said a while back that books will be written on what Star Wars or Disney did to Star Wars, and well, now 2 are, so that's great.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would come from the Phantom Menace. I can't say I predicted that, but this is so cool.
There was
Game of Thrones and Star Wars like major cautionary tales.
They really are.
Yeah.
But there were 2 books written about the Phantom Menace, and they're on Amazon. I think they've been bought by about 3 people. Just, you know what? I'm not even going to say anything. Just go look it up and just take a look at the synopsis.
Are they not nice? Are they?
No, they're not nice at all. This person does not like us, and he's kind of. When I first started doing this, I looked at him as my arch enemy. I was like, oh, good, I've got an arch enemy now. It's like somebody who hates, somebody who's writing books about the Phantom Menace hating on us. And then I looked at the description of the book and it's like, nah, this guy can't be my enemy. He's not all there.
He's a little crazy.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. He needs a little work.
He's like your Joker. Yeah. Party Almzivi. Party Almzivi for $4.99. Fun little tidbit. Zoe Quinn's ancestors had a Dutch castle von Valkenburg that the Roman Catholics tried burning doin. Makes you think, doesn't it? It actually does.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I couldn't body count. Jason Smoot, $10. Good stuff, guys. Thank you. And thank you, Jason Smoot. That is the final super chat. Now I want to exit by playing a little Freddie Prinze Jr. audio. I want to make sure this is synced up right. It's just a couple minutes. Let me make sure it's synced up there. Okay, here it is. Here it is right here. Now, I think you're going to be able to hear the audio on this. So let's see if I can do this without being a boomer. I don't want to be a boomer. There we go. Oh, I can check the audio right there. Awesome. All right. This is a couple dude bros in Hollywood, so I'm apologizing to you right now. But what Freddie Prinze says about the game, the Monopoly game, is pretty good.
Portuguese,
Man.
Chinese.
No,
they don't like. They're not good.
No, they're not good. You know what else isn't good?
I want to hear this.
Hasbro.
I'm going to sit back for a second.
So I had a terrible night's sleep last night. Couldn't fall asleep for whatever reason. It was too hot and it was too cold. It was too hot. It was too cold. Couldn't get the right temperature. I was up to like 2 o'clock in the morning. You don't have to get up at 6 because I got to get the kids ready. Shit smoke. Well, maybe that would work, but on this particular night, I slept up.
Yeah.
So I wake up. I'm pissed off. I open my phone and I start laughing my ass off. And the fact that I had a terrible night's sleep is completely irrelevant. It doesn't even matter because I had such a smile on my face at the dumbest decision that Hasbro has ever made, to my knowledge. They have created a new game.
Yes.
Called Monopoly.
Let me see if I can. What would that game be about, this new game, Monopoly?
Well, it's about everybody being at a table.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to acquire real estate. Not in the new one, in the original one. You're trying to acquire real estate, and everyone is on equal ground.
I like that.
And the only thing that has control in the game is basically a pair of dice.
Yeah.
Outside of that, everything is equal. So what they thought they would do, and this is what happens when you hashtag your movements, you guys, the focus of the actual movement is completely lost and diluted, and all these corporations jump on, and it means to just make money off your dumbasses for hashtagging it in the first place. And they literally have now made a monopoly for girls, basically, where every time you pass go, the woman, if you're a woman playing the game, you get $240. But if you're a man, you get $200. And the philosophy behind it, they were quoted as even, I won't get the whole quote right, but I'll get the beginning right. We think it's a fun way, and now I'll explain the rest, to play the game and sort of what's the term? What's the term I'm looking for? Make up for the fact that men have been overpaid for so long. They literally made Monopoly, and the investment stuff they changed. Now you invest in like companies that women created, right? From the Bulletproof Vest, chocolate chip cookies. I didn't know a woman invented either of those. So right on, that's cool to know that. But
woman invented chocolate chip cookies.
That's what they're claiming.
Okay,
this is what Hasbro's claiming. I don't have no evidence to back them up. It's just what they're claiming. But they literally, the whole point was for equality.
Yeah,
equality. You just made a game that took a game where everything is equal every time. It's only experience that allows you to improve. And you made it completely unequal. It's not like Monopoly existed, and if your sister passed go, you're like, ha ha, you only get 160, I get 200, scrub.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for whoever pitched this because they're gonna lose their job. Like they're straight up gonna lose their job.
It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I just can't wait for the overcorrecting to come back closer to the middle.
Well, this is what made me laugh. Andrew Schultz, the comic that we both love, retweeted it with a quote. He goes, "You idiots. That's how Trump got elected."
That's hilarious.
I'm like, yo, that's what's gonna happen.
That's
You're
true.
trying to change. Sexists keep trying to change each other. Men tried to change how women behave for generations.
Yeah.
We want you like this. We want you like this. We want you like this. It didn't work. Why do y'all think it's gonna work the other way? It's not. Like, we're different. It was Jeff Dye, the comic Jeff Dye.
Yeah.
He's like, my favorite thing about a woman is that she's not a dude.
Yeah, that's 100% right.
It's okay to have differences. We should be paid equally. We should be treated with the same amount of respect so long as we earn that respect.
Yeah.
We should all be given an equal amount of dignity.
Yep.
But to sit here and say that everybody's the same is psychotic.
I would even go as far
psychotic.
to say, guys, I know this is going to be controversial.
I can't throw a football like Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Not even when we were the same age, with the same coaches, with everything, because
You
we're
are the same
genetically
age.
different.
You are the same age.
But I'm left-handed. Why am I not right-handed?
Yeah.
I can be right-handed if I want to be. Like, dude, it's just the way it
And
goes.
I think it's crazy. Here we go, everybody. Look, you can always find examples to disprove someone's point, right? You can always. But
yeah, there's exceptions.
Right. But guys, there are some things that women do better than men, and there are some things that men do better than women.
And that's
so,
okay.
totally okay.
It's okay.
To say that one person or sex or race or whatever is better than other people, it isn't degrading the other people. It's just like I always say to people, hey, just because you weren't included doesn't mean you're excluded. You pussy.
This is why comedy's so important today. I'm going to quote another comic, Mark Norman. Okay, he's a young comic. We're
going to end here.
He's super funny.
Going to wait till this
There's
joke.
a lot of stuff that makes people uncomfortable. He was talking about black people. He's like, I thought it was a compliment to say you were fast. I didn't know. I'm not saying you can't be a scientist. I'm just saying if you were a scientist and we raced to the beakers, you'd get there first.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very surprising.
Very surprising coming from a Hollywood type, especially one who's criticized the Phantom Menace, and I don't want y'all to forget that. But I thought that was somebody passed that my way this morning. Somebody who was close to them, and because I think it's got like a few hundred views. But I think with Dave Chappelle, it's got 400 views. So with Dave Chappelle, Walter Mosley, and then Bill Burr, which I doubt maybe they know each other. Maybe they talk like let's fucking end this shit. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on. But now I think people in Hollywood are feeling safe to step out because a lot of them probably do agree with this. Now we need more. What the fuck took you fucking so long? And it's too late for some other shit. But there it is there. Guess who's here, man? We got somebody here.
Uh-oh.
If he's gonna pipe up.
I'm just excited to talk to Mahler. I'm a Mahler fangirl. Here with Mahler.
Who is this guy? Get him out of here.
Welcome, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? Is that the same Freddie Prinze that went after me on Twitter?
Yep, that's the same one. It's the same one who went after the Phantom Menace. Yep.
that was misogynistic for hating The Last Jedi. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody took some red pills this morning for their breakfast, it sounds like.
I was gonna say I was shocked by that whole thing, especially the part where he said you have to earn respect. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, what?
Yep.
Surprised he's not canceled yet.
Yeah.
Tide's turning.
Yeah,
I feel it.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for the news articles to go. Washed up has been 90s heartthrob again by taking a shot at it. What's gonna happen?
Reveals that he's a misogynist.
Is my audio okay? Because I am on my phone.
Yeah, it's fine.
So
it's fine.
Is everything okay? Okay.
Yeah, that Monopoly thing, by the way, I would have believed that was parody, like, because you can't take that seriously. Like, they give women more money when they pass go. That's funny. That's an Onion article right there. But no, it's real.
Yeah, that's the problem.
First, hello, Stephen. Hello, Quarter Black. Hello, Gray. And
What's
Mahler!
up?
Hey, Mahler!
What's up?
I always wanted
Hey, Jeremy, how you doing, buddy?
I got to keep a promise. Anna, that Star Wars girl, give this man a cookie.
Yes, thank you. Right now, the internet is trying to. After my car video with my two dogs, that was a big hit. The internet is now pressuring me to say, "Hey, Tulip, her dog," and I'm like, I don't get paid enough to deal with my two dogs, Anna and her dog, in a car video. Enough to deal with that. I can barely deal with Anna. Not more so less 3 dogs. But anyway, thank you guys for having me. And yeah, whatever we're talking about, I don't want to interrupt. I just want to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, I was just we were wrapping things up. I wanted to play that because I'm very aware of what you went through with Freddie Prinze Jr. It was disappointing because I used to be a fan of his pops, big fan of Chico and the Man when I was a kid. Loved that show, and I think while you don't want to, I mean, you can forgive people if they want to, if he wants to come around and I think that's good. I think that's a good thing. And we need to encourage that. You know, it sucks what happened to you, Jeremy. You know, I always got your back. But when we see an instance like this compiled with what we've seen over the last week, I think we're seeing evidence of the tide turning. I mean, there's unfortunate circumstances like, Steven Crowder. I doubt he's getting his monetization back or anytime soon. I wish he would, but we got to take progress, not perfection. And not
that was a debacle, by the way. You could tell with how YouTube were on Twitter. They were like, "Oh, it's fine," and then they were like, "Oh, it's not fine. Oh, no, it's not fine. It's not fine. Is it fine now? No." They just look at everyone's reaction like, "I don't know. Take his money away." Okay.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
It was crazy.
Yeah, I did when I did the Monopoly video. I got trolled because I reacted to it as it was, legit serious news, and everybody's like, "No." I'm like, "No, they're not." Like I know they're not. The whole, I know they did the Monopoly for Millennial one, but this was serious, and I had a lot of people saying you need to retract this. They're trolling you, Jeremy. They're not trolling us. Like that was legit. That was serious. And
yeah, they must have not have seen the trailer. Like they made a commercial for it. That commercial is 100% earnest. They were very serious about this game.
Yes,
they thought it was a good idea.
And for clarification, by the way, if you tell your average citizen like, "Oh, the new Terminator movie is going to have all female leads," they might go, okay. Like that might not actually give them an inkling of any kind of agenda. But if you said women earn more money when they pass go at Monopoly, they'll give you a look. They'll be like, "What?
Right?
Wait a
Why?
second.
What possible?" And you're like, "Well, because women earn less than men, apparently, right?" They'll be like, "That."
Yeah.
Like I feel like the average person is gonna be like, "This is getting silly now, guys." Like what are you trying to do?
I think we're there, and I think Terminator. I mean, to circle it back around, the Miss Monopoly, Terminator: Dark Fate. I think that is the end game for this whatever movement it is. It's gotten to levels of absolute ridiculousness.
I don't know. They keep doubling down.
I think, and I agree. I think. Listen, I think this trend is towards the end. I think we'll get some more for a few more months, but it's going to work itself out because bottom line still rules the day. And if Terminator Dark Fate flops, and once a Marvel movie not flops, but doesn't perform as well as the other one. And you got to look at things like if you're going to keep, a lot of people like to throw the bottom line at me, then I will counter with this. Stockholders don't give a shit. They don't discern between Avengers Endgame and Black Widow. They'll just know that, why didn't Black Widow make as much as Avengers Endgame? It's a Marvel movie. Well, it's not a sequel to and a culmination of 10 years. I don't give a fuck. It didn't make as much money as Endgame did. They all have to do better than the other, whether they're sequel or not. And that's what will bring things down. I heard somebody say today that, it'll be good if Rise of Skywalker makes 800 million. That's passable, but that's not good. And that's nowhere near good.
They'll have their boardroom meetings with like, how do we fix this? How do we fix this? How do we fix this?
Yeah. And the problem
I know my audio's
No, go.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say I know my audio is terrible. Everyone, I'm on my phone. I just want to say, if Rise of Skywalker makes 800 million, Kathleen Kennedy she will be so done. That will be a massive failure to go from $2 billion to 1.0 failing to the Rise of Skywalker making 800 million. That is a colossal failure for Star Wars.
Yeah, I agree.
What I was gonna say is even if audiences wake up, even like normies wake up to it, we're still in for it for 2 years because they're making stuff right now with woke agenda. They're still going to be making that even if they wake up this year. So yeah,
I'm pessimistic about how long this will still last. I feel like we've still got a while left.
Well, I think the thing about when the message finally hits home to general audience is what's going on, and these things are still coming out. Like Garrett said, over the next couple of years, I hope it just really reminds people why this stuff is terrible. That's my hope.
And and the thing is, we're going to know, well, we know before Hollywood does. Say it with me, chat. Hollywood is where trends go to die. The Hollywood is the end. It's where things end up. They don't create anything. They don't, music gets created on, core music gets created on the streets. It gets, and independent films, trends come up from all kinds of different places, but it's usually low income.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm almost done. That's all good.
But one thing I think that we should remember is that a lot of this was inspired by the 2016 election. We have another election coming up, so just expect a fresh round of bullshit. Just going to get stirred right up, and we're not going to see the end of this for a few years.
I have no choice but to tell you, you're fired.
That's right. And that, gentlemen, is foreshadowing for who might end up winning the presidency again.
Yeah.
Yep. That
just inevitable.
I am inevitable.
We're sorry, Mueller. We're sorry this affected your entertainment over there. You had nothing to do with it.
Well, I mean, I actually love watching the debates. So
we got 3 more super chats. We're gonna wrap this baby up. In8 Wisdom Bear, $5.01. I'm starting to think that those who continue to defend The Last Jedi are the same people who would bring their '93 Kia to a classic car show. Ooh,
I like that.
Thomas
Gillicky. I don't have Kia anymore, so I don't have the Kia anymore. So it's gone.
Thomas Gillicky for $5. Sending some love to this incredible panel. Guys, thank you again for coming on, and Comics and Odin, the ones who aren't here, even Mike S. Miller. Thanks for coming on. It was a lot of fun. Brett Baratheon, the final super chat for tonight, $1.99. Gary, you're the best channel on YouTube. Thank you. Wow. I'm a decent channel amongst great channels. How's that sound? All you guys do
Gary
great work.
Awesome.
Oh, stop.
Gary is awesome.
I'm having a lot of fun. So thank you all for allowing me to have this much fun, for connecting, and thank you to the Phantom Menace and Jeremy and Mahler, and please support Stephen, author. I would just want to say author Stephen Walton Jr. And of course we want to thank Quarter Black Garrett from the Steven Crowder Show. And he's got his own channel, by the way. All these channels are linked in the description. Please subscribe if you have not. I subscribe to all of these people. I watch their content. And by the way, just a little secret, I don't let anybody on who I haven't seen their content. So if you come on, I'm subscribed to your channel and I watch your content. And if you think you got a good channel, email it to me. I'll check it out. I have no problem checking it out. And if you guys need any help on anything, just ask. Simply ask. Yeah, no problem. And you know, I'm a little tougher to get a hold of than Jeremy, but I will eventually come around. Just stay on me. You know.
So I also want to
really damn loving and encouraging community. Seriously.
I also wanted to say congratulations to Thomas Gilkey. He went out and got himself a new job, and just want to congratulate him on that.
Oh, right on. Congratulations. Employment is good.
Yes.
And the bills is good. So we'll go around the horn. We'll start with Steven. Plug your channel, my friend.
Well, my channel is Author Stephen Walton. I am not as consistent as these fine gentlemen here, although I will be putting up more content. I am thinking about doing a round of interviews with different YouTube personalities, asking some tough, maybe personal questions without trying to dox anybody, of course, if they don't want to talk about certain things. Please, if you can, give to the GoFundMe. If you can't, don't worry about it. We pretty much hit what we needed to get the production off the ground, and anything that we get at this point is just to help with the production value. Much appreciated. But if you do want to help somebody, Ichibaka is doing a book. Disney Star Wars is Dumb. He's been a member of the community for 2 years. He's been an archivist. He's meant a lot to this community. So please go check out his Indiegogo campaign and support Fandom Menace authors. Thank you.
All right, brilliant. And I linked the Indiegogo in the chat, and you can see it right there. Mauler, my friend, plug your channel.
I do extremely long reviews, I suppose you call them, critical analysis, looking in depth into different movies, TV shows, and games is what I'm currently up to. I kind of want to spend the rest of my years on YouTube trying to get more and more done. Game of Thrones is the latest target. Before that, it was Star Wars, and I'm sure Star Wars is ramping up for how far are we now? Just literally 3 months?
Under 100 days.
Well, yeah, we're getting there, and I can't wait to machine gun that as well, because, I mean, I love talking about Star Wars, no matter how much Disney's going to try and ruin it. But yeah, the channel I run is essentially just long form criticism. And I try and involve a lot of pieces of media at once. I'm trying to be constructive as well as entertaining or informative. Like I run 2 main series. The Rages tend to be more entertaining on the side of passionate, while the critiques are more trying to explore something and how we could have tweaked it and where it went wrong, with mainly referencing the content in itself. And it ends up creating videos that are very, very long, and I take a long time to make them. I'd like to think that I'm consistent in uploading. It just takes a couple months between each one. And yeah, consider subscribing if you're interested in that sort of thing. I also run a podcast on my second channel where we just shoot the shit. And Gary, Jeremy, and several others of the Fandom Menace not only have been on, but are welcome to come on in future as well. We just talking about media, because that's the main motivation I have. I love talking about stories. Stories are great.
Mauler's like a wizard. He arrives precisely when he means to. So, and yeah, check out EFAP. EFAP is brilliant, and that's on the Mueller channel. And then we have Quarter Black Garrett, and you have a channel, sir.
I do have a channel.
Yeah,
it is 1/4 Black Garrett, just as it's spelled on the screen in front of you. So you can go to there. I also have a Twitter, same. Go check that out. That's where I do a lot of my conversing with people, is on Twitter. So go follow me there. I just want to thank you, Gary, for letting me come on here. It was a lot of fun. And 3 of my favorite content creators are on this stream right now. So
that's really brilliant. Cool. Hey, I'd love to have you back. If you want to come back on, the invitation is open. So awesome.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. And then we have this guy who just popped in at the end, big rock star, big time. The guy who got, I swear to God, I'm not kidding, got stopped every 5 minutes at Comic-Con. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers.
I am going to do something I normally don't do. I'm not going to be sarcastic right now. I appreciate you guys having me on. I don't want to take this opportunity to plug anything of mine. I want to plug, again, Stephen Walton's project Like, please support that. I've had him on the channel. This guy is in the trenches. He knows his stuff. He's doing really hard work, and I really appreciate what he's doing. I want to plug his please go support that, and also follow Data Racer 117 on Twitter, because like I said, without Itchy and Data Racer, I wouldn't have half my videos that I'm able to make and rant and stream about Star Wars. So I do everyone like them. They're the reason I have a channel with any relevance, and I appreciate all this joy and no sarcasm, because motherfuckers, I'll be back tomorrow with all my sarcastic shit.
Nice. And I would like
Jeremy. Cancel
Jeremy.
Hashtag cancel Jeremy.
I want to
I got a
echo.
meme coming your way, Jeremy.
Nice. I want to echo that. Please support Stephen Walton Jr. Please support Itchy Baca's book, Star Wars is Dumb. Please follow Data Racer. Data Racer, Itchy Baca, if you guys are ever listening, if you're listening right now, I'd like to get you on soon. As soon as possible. And we love what you guys do, and thank everybody. I mean, you know, the up and coming channels, you know, who are out there plugging away. Keep at it. You're doing good work. Well, most of everybody, not everybody's doing great work, but most of it. And like, I don't always do great work either, but I do my best, and do your best. That's all you can do. So, yeah, I have a website, nerdrotic.com. That's if YouTube ever pulls the plug, that's where I'll be by my lonesome on that website. And all the links are there. All the important links are there. So again, tomorrow, I'll be doing a super chat square up from the Inquisition, and I've got some letters that people wrote that I've got to read. So we're going to have toxic mailbag. So more live streaming tomorrow. And I may have a couple videos, although you kind of heard them tonight. So I don't know. Guys, thank you very much for coming on. And everybody have a very good night. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone. Everybody. Thanks for having me, Gary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Potato. Hi, everybody, from my potato. That's what the chat